And here we go.
Oh, look, Jasper's here.
Is he now?
Heyo.
How are you, Jasper? How was your week? Or Jake? Jake
Wait, hold on.
State Farm.
I worked there twice. Have I told you that?
Someone did. They said you like to wear khakis, too.
Stop. I'm wondering where my Jake from...
right now, Jake?
I mean, if they're gray, can we still call them khakis?
I don't know. Is khaki a color or a material?
Oh, that's a philosophical question.
Huh?
Yeah.
I always thought it was a color, so...
Same.
Khaki, a textile fabric of a dull brownish yellow color, in particular, a strong cotton fabric used in military clothing.
So it's both.
Brown, it sounds like it's both.
It's both. My pants are the khaki textile, but they're gray coloring. So
It's like orange. It is a color and a fruit.
Yeah, same thing with strawberries.
What?
yeah, that's true.
Is that true? Is strawberry a color?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
everything's a
Strawberry
color.
blonde, baby.
If you want to get technically detailed enough. And the color strawberry is actually probably pretty close to the fruit strawberry.
So are we
Like
going
apple,
vault
too.
diving? Are we going to discover the wonders of vaulting? I have to vault this session.
Vault
My
hunting.
character needs a giant stick so he can vault something.
Deus Vault.
Stop.
Oh gosh, Enrique's not here to say something about retaking the Holy Land.
For Jerusalem.
I mean, he is the Inquisitor here, so we're going to be
Nobody expects the
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor. Actually,
I'm surprised he hasn't been more inquisitive.
I will be back in a moment.
I will say, I do constantly forget that he's an Inquisitor. I keep thinking he's a Ranger.
Well, he plays and feels like a ranger, and he hasn't inquisited us. So, actually, he recently just inquisited us. So,
Oh yeah, he was getting in on everyone's alignment.
yep, we were being inquisited.
It's not really a
I kind of-
without
I-
ships.
I want to play at some point a sort of hard-nosed, religious Inquisition type character that is trying to bring back the Holy Land. I'm surprised we didn't
Why
get
didn't
one
you
in
do
this
that this
campaign.
campaign?
Well, because I couldn't pass up, Prince's perspective is interesting to me. I don't think
I
I'd
couldn't
like...
pass up being genocidal. In a
Well,
past
it's not...
life.
He's not genocidal. He's got a...
That's what I was saying, but he
He's
doesn't-
misunderstood.
Well, it's weird because Prince, the first thing he sees is Axis, which is right under the Tower of Pharasma, and it's a perfectly ordered city that speaks a language called Utopian. So
Hey. Spoilers.
shit, sorry. Well, I mean, if you've looked up Shabti and where they pop out at, you could come to that conclusion.
I think
And
most of the time, the players in the campaign are probably going to not look things up if their character doesn't know it, or they don't already know it.
Yeah.
It's
But
more fun
then-
that way.
He's also seen Elysium, which is a chaotic realm of mutual aid and communism. So he's seen these two idyllic extremes. So he kind of is like a child. He's like a understood child.
Is Elysium
But
more communism or is it more anarchy?
It's
don't
more
actually
anarchy.
know. Okay.
But anarchy and kind of go together. to some extent, because you have to have some order. People have to work together because that's how life works. So if you're an anarchist and you don't believe in, like, you know, some sort of authoritarian sort of government thing, you have to organize yourself somehow. And the obvious solution for anarchists would be something like communism or socialism. And when you read the descriptions of Elysium, it's very much like that. It's like an idyllic wilderness of small communities of mutual aid. So he's weird because, like, I don't know. My guess is he probably thinks that a lot of the stuff that these mortals are doing is kind of silly, and a lot of the stuff that they're worrying about is kind of silly, and he's wary about putting another monarch in charge because humans and mortals don't know what to do. Which is an
what's
easy...
silly about worrying about is swearing in this Discord call, like you just said.
There are children. I see
There
children
are?
every time I come on this.
Jake, how old are you?
12.
But he has children, and one day his children are going to look at the things he's done in his life and be like, what was that foul-mouthed prince doing there?
Are you kidding me? Okay, so Jake, you're gonna be sitting here with your kids going over the VODs for the Land of Death campaign with them?
Even if he
You
does,
know it.
if they're at an age where the rest of the content of this is appropriate enough for them, then they're probably hearing 10 times worse at school. To be frank.
That's true. That's very true.
In middle school, that is like the most people I ever met. You'll hear the
Yep.
most swearing. Like, as a kid, they're already going to be like exposed to that one way or another. You might as well lean into it for them and get prepared.
Okay.
I was talking with Erica to our niece that is, oh gosh, Erica, how old is she? 8 or 9? And she just got frustrated about something while we were talking to her. She dropped an F-bomb and I was like, damn.
That's funny.
I like that.
I was like, no.
But yeah, Prince is kind of like an idealistic and very old, very experienced, idyllic teenager.
What?
Thinks he's experienced.
Well, I mean, he's got like 300 years
Okay,
under
what's
his
your
belt.
wisdom? What's your wisdom?
Not very... Hold on. I actually don't know. I don't know.
I'm
I have a
joking.
12
Wisdom
wisdom.
doesn't always have to be indicative of your character's actual wiseness. I mean,
Years?
sometimes
But
you
I
have
don't-
to disconnect the two of those.
I actually don't think he's very wise. I
Years
think
is also
he-
not necessarily going to be experience or wisdom.
I think he's more like... I mean, what if you were like someone who's only seen like idyllic forms of government? Like, Axis is like the most idyllic form of lawful, by the books, clockwork, orderly place. Elysium is like chaotic and musical, and there's the accidental god who lives in Elysium. He's like a drunk dwarf who accidentally became a god. He's in Elysium, so it's...
Like
I
Hayden
think-
Callion.
That's his name! Yes, that is him. That is
That's
him.
a human.
Yeah, he's a god now.
Alright, you ready?
You said dwarf.
Yeah, he's a dwarf
I'm
god.
sharing a picture. Here's my answer to that. Oh gosh, why did it lose its white background? Here we are. Okay. Round 2.
That looks like engineering.
Hold on. Yes. So, this is a stress strain curve. With biological systems, for example, humans, you have to experience... So strain, as long as you don't overdo it and reach the yield strength, then when it returns back, it's actually going to grow. That's pretty much the concept of what happens when you go out to exercise, that you're applying the stress, and as long as you don't go too far, it's able to heal and become stronger. Experience and stress are nearly synonymous. And so if you're going to live in a completely idyllic society for 300 years and never experience any stress, there's never any strain, there's also never any growth.
Yeah, he's
So-
like a kid. He's
Yes.
like a
So,
kid.
so that is the engineering answer to how much experience does he really have if he's only ever seen an idyllic society. The answer is
he's-
not much.
He's got experience in idyllic societies, I will say that. And he's
Yes,
probably going to be
yes.
pretty judgmental of societies that aren't idyllic in either direction.
Sure,
Yep.
but the actual level of understanding and recognition of how things work, he's got one data point.
Yep. Well, two. He's got two extremes. He's got
yes, two extremes. And there's no trauma from that whiplash either. None whatsoever.
He does have trauma though, but it's at the hands of like Erasmus laws, so it's very one-dimensional there too. Very one-dimensional. So, he doesn't know what to think of things. Like, he bounces between extremes when he sees, like, injustice. And I'm kind of playing him as, like, a negative utilitarian, too, where, like, he's more concerned with, like, suffering than, like, trying to create positive experiences beyond music, So, like, his form of chaotic good is more like, he's not against laws. He's just isn't against, like, not caring about them at all.
Sounds like a dangerous person. You can't shave your friend.
Well, he's kind of a semi-pacifist, so, like, he's not that dangerous. I mean, he's not against... I don't think he's probably killed anything in a very long time.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure a dangerous person would say that they're not that dangerous.
I'm pretty sure everyone would say that they're not that dangerous, unless they're trying to intimidate someone.
Nomad would say he's dangerous.
Yeah, I'd say I'm dangerous.
But you're both probably trying to intimidate somebody.
No. It's good to be dangerous.
Yeah, you want to be the most
That
dangerous
doesn't
man
mean
in
a
the room.
bad thing.
Well, it's not bad. It's just... there's a way of being dangerous without conceptualizing it as such. Power doesn't always have to be conceptualized as, like, destructive. There is such a thing as creative power.
Correct. Like when you create fear in others.
Okay.
Just kidding. Alrighty.
Where's
I don't-
Gabriel?
I
Where's
just
our
sent him a message.
Inquisitor?
I haven't heard anything from him, so I think we are going to get going because it is 9:45.
Okay.
So, recap from last time. Sorry, one moment. Let me go check on my child.
How do I put pictures into Fantasy Grounds for my thing?
Like your portrait, or...
Yes, my portrait.
You have to send it to Taggart to download.
I've been trying to figure out a good portrait, but there's just no images of Shab T that really get the vibe I'm going for. So I might just, like, put some golden Shab T there just to, like, give a general feel so people don't forget.
Well, you should
What,
be able
what's
to
that
send any
picture you have now?
It's just a generic picture that's mysterious. At least that's how I looked at it.
So
You
do
should
you
go
actually
put
have that
any
full beard?
picture that you want. Email it to Taggart.
To me,
New picture for your character.
In the fantasy. Because all the Shab T pictures on Google are like what I'm looking for.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's an Egyptian concept, but
Racist.
all I could find is a GIF.
Okay, so recap from last time. There were, I think, fundamentally two things that happened. Maleth was investigating a lead that she had apparently gotten from Jasper on someone to talk to. I don't know if she ever told the party as to the details of that lead before or after, but while she was investigating that lead, everybody else also got involved, and they were apparently attacked by a group of thugs who eventually let Maleth go and took Jasper, of his own free will, to a hidden place. At which point the rest of the party returned and started making a plan while Jasper met the thugs at their hideout and gained some information, as well as a task that they said was to help them as they are fighting back against King Pietro. While the identities of any of the people there were never given directly, Jasper had some suspicions as to who they might be. And I will let any of you fill in any details you want up until then, and then we will go from there. Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, we just got Inquist, but other
Oh,
than
yes,
that,
yes. And the local inquisitive Gabriel pretty much violated everybody's privacy and detected their alignments. Alright, so for those viewers, if you have any questions for the characters, put them here in the chat and we will get to them during an intermission at some point tonight. And so if you have anything come up over the course of the night that you want to ask one of the characters, feel free. Alright, so last we left our companions, Jasper had returned to the rest of them in the latter part of the evening as they were gathered in an inn over drinks and discussing. He went to them, received his leg, which was still in a box that was given to the party by Alexander, and they swapped information that they had gathered over the last time, though the true reason that Jasper was being so discreet about everything is still unknown to the party, at least to its fullest details. That is where we'll pick up, as you're all gathered around the table in the inn with almost nobody else around, as the night is closing in around you.
So I'm confused as to where to start, because I kind of would probably, out of character in saying this, would suggest us to go to sleep. But
Okay.
Jasper just told us to go to the museum, but I think it's a bit
Yeah.
too late for that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So
It's not too late to whip it. Anyway.
So, speaking of whips, Charlemagne motions to you, Nomad, and points to a corner, and he kind of motions for you to follow him. And he goes over and kind of waits for you in a corner to the side, out of earshot of the others.
Alright, I'll follow him.
Yeah.
Hey!
Nomad.
Hey, guys.
Did you hear
Hey,
me?
Gabriel. Nomad, I had a question for you.
What's that?
Jasper is an interesting fellow. I do not wish to disparage what he has done for us. He is apparently quite experienced and quite knowledgeable, but he is acting quite erratic of late, especially since we left the capital. Ever since Melkar, he has been... I mean, he was gone for so long, and then just as soon as he popped up, he was gone again, and here he is, acting like a thief in the night. Are we sure that we can trust him? Especially if we're going to retrieve the potential saving grace for Barrowlane and Zelkier? Can he be trusted with that? Not to pursue whatever other motives he might have? Especially in the erratic state that he's in right now?
Well, I agree with you. I don't appreciate his subterfuge. The constant disappearing has certainly upset me quite a bit, but his personal motives have never seemed to directly interfere with what we're wanting to do here. And I don't know that the Ruinite is exactly what he would be after. We'll certainly keep him, but I don't see a reason right now to lose faith in him, I suppose, but it certainly is cause for concern, you're right.
Charlemagne throws a glance at Jasper, and then turns back to you, Nomad, and says, "If you trust him, sir, I can too. I appreciate you listening to my concern."
Of course. We'll keep an eye on him, and let me know if you notice anything strange that I don't.
He nods. He seems to be... Actually, go ahead and roll a sense motive check. I'll take the second one there. He seems to be holding something else back, but he doesn't say anything else. He nods and says, "Thank you, sir."
Is something amiss?
It's... Those bandits that we met, the one that had the mark of the Royal Guard on his hand. What were they doing here? Why have they descended to petty thievery? And Jasper went with them, but then comes back unharmed. There's just...
I doubt that they're petty thieves. I mean, most likely that's just a facade that they would put up. And they're in a strategic place to strike at the capital and keep an eye on it. I think this is a decent location for them to be in. They can keep their heads down. They can plan accordingly. But I don't think that they're just common thugs.
He nods. Still troubled, you can tell, but he appears to be satisfied by your response.
We obviously, of course, should be careful with any dealings we have with them. I don't think we're 100% clear on their intentions. Whether that is the Royal Guard or not, I don't think we can afford to blindly trust anybody, so we'll be careful, as always.
Charlemagne nods.
Is there anything else that's bothering you?
He shakes his head. The last few days have been troubling, to say the least. From Melkar to Fort Frolic, it's been a while since I've been here. Since I was first inducted into the army, in fact. But so much has changed. He looks around. This was once home to me, but no more. No more. And with that, his head kind of drops a little bit, and he turns and begins walking back towards...
But before
towards
he walks away, I'll say... I'll put my hand on his shoulder, and I'll just look him in the eye and say, "It will be home again soon enough." And then I will walk away after I say that.
He lingers behind you, and as you pass, you see a small glint in his eyes. Not quite a glint of hope, but something. And he follows you back to the rest of the others. Now, real quick, Jasper, did you tell the rest of the party what happened before you returned to them, or were we going to get to that today?
I'm not entirely sure.
I think
What
he
you-
said something to Nomad a little bit that other people might have overheard, but basically he said that the queen wants the minerals and that's who he met up with, but he didn't actually outright say it was the queen. And he didn't
What?
outright say that it was what?
No, I said to everybody, like, whispered at the table, like, I think, I just met the queen and her royal guard. And Jasper's, no, not Jasper, Nomad was like, well, like, what does she want? Nomad, like, well, take a guess. It's the worst possible thing that, she could want. And then Nomad was like, but, like, that's what we're supposed to get for Bellavant. And I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah, and then I said that I don't trust her and I don't think we should give it to her.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone knows who I think I met and what she's asking for. So that was made clear enough, I guess. Clear enough.
Meh.
So you guys heading out to the museum, to the exhibit?
We
I
can
think
if
that's
we
what
must.
we all agreed to on. Thought it would be a good idea.
Yeah, stay behind and ask the barkeep a few things, I guess.
I'm sorry, real quick, out of game. I can't remember. Last session, did anyone actually have any leads on the whereabouts of the vault? I can't remember if there was like a clue we were
Yeah.
given or not.
Yeah, we know where it is and we know the password or whatever to get into it. That was told to Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think Jasper mentioned. I don't know if he actually mentioned password
Oh,
in his conversation, but he did mention that he was told how to get there.
yeah.
and,
I don't think he told us what the password is because Jasper has to hold all the cards for himself all the time.
Actually, yeah,
What?
before we leave, I would like to talk to Jasper in private.
Yeah, and before that, just on what Pritz just said about Jasper, I'm gonna roll detect lies. Oh look, no lies detected.
I was saying that out of character, but I can say it in I don't know.
I'm saying it out of character as well. Whatever you say. Yeah.
Okay, go talk to Jasper. I want to hear the juice.
All right. Yeah, I would want to talk to him privately though. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't care too much if somebody's listening. But anyways, I would just take a seat beside you. So, how have you been?
I've been better.
Yeah. I'm sure we all have.
You're an observant one.
Thank you. No matter let out a chuckle. Jasper, I'll certainly be the first to say that your contributions have obviously been invaluable to us. But where I have a problem is with your very obvious subterfuge toward us. You can't keep disappearing like this and forcing confrontations like we had with the guard earlier. we need better communication. I understand that you needed to hide information from a particular person, but this isn't going to work if things like this keep happening. Somewhere, or sometime, somewhere along the way, one of us is probably going to make a mistake, like I almost did earlier. It's really hard to judge, and really hard to just sit back and do nothing, like you told us to for that situation. I mean, obviously, I made that call for everybody to stay put, but that was difficult, especially given the circumstance. Alright? There needs to be better communication. Alright? And this isn't the first time that you've done this either, which is why I bring this up. If there's something we can work out, where you need to be subtle in a situation, maybe some kind of a gesture you can make towards me, or a code phrase, something like that. Just something, you know?
You're not wrong. My most recent disappearance was it was a surprise to myself. Admittedly, I did not plan on needing to do that so suddenly, or at all. Again,
Of course.
but I do think that it is important for there to be a level of trust between us, since we are we are brothers in a cause, so to speak.
And look, of course I don't mean any ill will by singling you out.
Well, you wouldn't be you if you had any ill will.
I appreciate you saying that.
You're a good man. I mean it. I think there's a way that I can give you what you're asking for, because you do, not intentionally, but you do seem to make yourself more or less the leader of our group in Volkelian's absence. And if I had to let just one person be aware of something like my recent disappearances, whether it's through some code word or something, maybe it is you.
I mean, just whatever you can think of would be fine. Just so we know to trust you, or if you need to leave, you can maybe do something. Because I mean, if we all wake up and you're not there, I mean, we don't really know what to expect. If you're in danger, we should look for you immediately, or if, like now, if you're just taking care of business. There's got to be something you can do.
One moment. Jasper looks into his kind of looks on his person, just shuffles around in his pockets for a second. And he pulls out a coin, and he slides it over the table to where Nomad's sitting.
I'll pick it up. What do I see?
So you see, it's a gold coin, and it's an emblem, one that you're not familiar with. It's not of Arador or what's the other kingdom?
Markoth?
Markoth. Yeah, it's not of Arador or Markoth. But you can tell it's like like an emblem of nobility or something, almost like a coat of arms. And you look on the other side, and it's the exact same emblem. That, that's an heirloom of a life long gone, but not forgotten. It was my father's, so what I could do, at the very least, and I would do more if I can, but if for some reason I need to distance myself, either for your protection or to advance the cause of our group, in some way that maybe I can't reveal at the time again, there's but I would place this into your possession as a gesture of my goodwill to you, to the group, and my determination to fill our mutual cause together and to return to you sooner than later. It'd be an indicator that I would give in advance that something has arisen, and if we have the chance, obviously I could send a message spell to you that might be good enough for me to disclose to you discreetly.
That would also be appreciated.
Right. What do you think of that?
I think that works well. And if you must leave, again, like you did before, just leave the coin in a place where we could find it.
Will do.
But I do appreciate you being willing to work with me on this. I understand that not everybody is like me and is used to communicating as a group.
No, but that is important, and that will save our skin many a time over. More so than subterfuge. I try to do so sparingly. It doesn't make me look too good either. So
No, it truthfully doesn't.
But I think that so far it's worked to our benefit. Prince did not disclose any information to Pietro that would have been detrimental for him to disclose. Maleth didn't get her throat slit. We are, if not just really good at what we're doing, we're very lucky that things have gone as well as they have when I've taken us off the beaten path, or the intended path. But I do intend to just stay here for the night. I feel like that will make I'll keep my familiar from discovering me. So I'm going to talk to the barkeep about rooms. I don't know if they have rooms in this particular building. I hope that they do. Maybe we can rest here.
And lastly, should I be careful when I tell you familiar? I can't.
Oh,
remember
I mean, don't tell them about me, about discovering me here. I intend on finding something here in this area that if he isn't aware of it, better for him in case he were to be captured, interrogated, something like that. In fact, I hope to. I hope to find it in secret, but with my familiar around, I don't think I could keep it secret from him unless he just had absolutely no idea where I am. Like, I assume he still hasn't found me yet. I'm sure he'll be rather relieved when he sees me again. But anyway, no, I don't think you need to be careful what you tell him. I just hope he isn't annoying you more than anything.
A little late for that, but I'm done.
And that's what I'm the most sorry for. He's a little enthusiastic.
Sure, if that's how you want to put it.
Anyway, anything else?
No, I think that's it. And I'll get up. Let's see. Thanks, Jasper.
Oh, and when you do see the exhibit, the person that looks like Prince, just remember what I told you yesterday, 2 days ago.
Somebody's got echo going on. I don't know who it is, but it's... Yikes.
What is it that's happening?
I'm echoing. Or I was.
But I'm sorry, go on. I don't think it's happening anymore.
Oh, yeah, what I was saying was just remember what I told you about Prince a day or two ago. Keep that in mind when you see whatever's in the exhibit.
I'm sorry, out again. What? What did you tell me?
I told you how Prince is a Shabti. And I explained how...
yes.
I explained a little bit about what that is.
That's right, I remember now.
Let's just say hi.
Okay. What?
Go ahead, Thomas.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Thomas.
What did someone say?
Somebody said, hello,
Oh.
and I just died.
Okay, so are we heading to the museum?
No, Thomas, you cannot.
To the museum.
We're taking Thomas with us.
Picking up stray boy off the street.
So you all, out of character at least, heard the description of what was in the museum. Unless you want me to, I can skip giving the description of the exhibits there again, unless there are specific questions you have, in which case I'll answer those, but as far as the description,
I'm just wanting to go to see the Prince exhibit.
Yeah. So you'll all go,
alleged.
you'll see the Prince exhibit in all its anger and majesty, and I can double check the name of the person. Did you go with them, Prince?
Yeah, I might as well. I mean, I don't know if I don't really see the point of doing it. I already told them.
Jasper was lobbying for it.
Well, I have my suspicions that Jasper just wanted this to get out of the place so he could do whatever he's going to do.
Hit on the barkeep.
So, Maldrith the Bloody is his name. And for a remembrance's sake, the plaque beneath him reads, Familicide. No reason was known. After causing chaos and division, Maldrith disappeared and was never seen again.
And when was this?
Approximately 300-ish years ago. Maybe 250, 280. Their dates on there aren't exact. It gives kind of a range.
For me being like a Zelkid Zalkirian kind of native, would like the scars, so to speak, of like his role still be like obvious, or is it kind of just like,
He's someone that
The place
you
is-
don't recall ever having heard about until seeing this exhibit.
okay. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
Anybody else have questions about this or any other exhibit? You would also see the two exhibits that Alexander had asked you to fill out. The one for the late Queen of Zelkir. Let me double check name. Because it does say stuff on there. But Elora Domadrid. And it talks about how in hers she united a fractured Zelkir and prevented a civil war, preparing the way for Zelkir's ultimate transformation. And then the last one is and there's nothing for Pietro but a plaque, and that says in process. But I guess I can't remember if you guys remember the other part of this, but the other section of the Queen's exhibit has what the rest of you were able to recognize fairly easily as a younger Lord Bellevant, a younger Vocalion, and someone who's apparently the Queen. All in adventuring gear.
Yeah, I'm gonna be ignoring the one that looks like me and just
focusing
while
on the
everybody's
others. Yeah.
yes.
So I'll look at the bloody guy, and then I'll look at Prince. Is it like literally the exact same person?
The resemblance is uncanny. Though you're not really sure how an accurate image or model would have been had. I mean, there might have been what's it called? Paintings left over from him in some sort of storage, but in order to get as accurate a 3D representation that looks just like Prince, that's surprising. Not improbable. I mean, not impossible, but improbable for sure.
My skin will be a little bit darker and slightly
Sure.
golden.
Like there's certainly some differences. You can tell that there's almost no blemishes on Prince, where, I mean, for lack of a better term, the statue of Maldrith, or the depiction of Maldrith, being that it's a zombie, it certainly looks more human. There's more flaws and imperfections throughout his complexion, his skin, his body, and then, I mean, the body type is not near as accurate to Prince, but the face, while there are differences, you can tell that it is undoubtedly either the same person or the whole Keanu Reeves thing that you have, where it's like you've got all these people throughout history. They all look exactly like him, so it's like it's not the same person, but is it though?
All right. That's it for me for the museum.
Thomas, you're stinky. Are you sure you don't need to go poop? I am not stinky. It was not stinky over here until you came over here.
Oh Jesus. Okay, well, I think I've seen enough here without looking at the statue at all.
Immediately. All right, I've seen enough. We ready to go?
Yes.
What?
I'm in a hurry to get out. Are you ready to go? Have you seen enough? Have we seen enough here?
Let's go.
I think we're good to go.
Alright, let's head back to the inn so we can sleep and get all our things back.
While you're heading back, Nomad, you hear a voice in your mind. Have you found him?
Look, I've had a long day, alright? Let me sleep.
You get no response. I love you, Thomas. Okay. As you return to the inn, before you, or I guess, would you get rooms, or what is it you're going to do there?
I'm gonna get a room. I mean,
Jasper would have asked about rooms and pricing.
1 gold piece per night per room.
Gold piece. How nice is this tavern?
That's decent.
So
I
this
mean, we are
guy's
kind of
gouging
good.
everyone.
Do you think I could debate the price with the innkeep?
Yeah.
Alright,
Price is
perfect.
gold piece per room.
Look, we're probably going to be here in the city for a while. You might as well knock off the price, otherwise we can find other places.
How long do you think you'll be in town? He says.
Guys, how long do you think we'll be? What?
I don't know. I'm guessing 3 to 5 days.
Probably like a couple more days if I was to guess.
Yeah, look, and food and drinks, we'll be drinking here, but that's a lot of money if you want to lose it.
He looks you up
we
and
can lower the
down,
price of it.
gauging the niceness and the expensiveness of your gear, and says, I'll do a gold piece for your stay in Fort Frolic, but that will not include any food.
Sounds great to us.
Excellent.
Alright.
Let me show you your rooms.
Thank you so much.
And
I'll
he
tip
brings
him
you up.
3 silver as an appreciation.
The silver isn't on the table longer than a half a second before it's gone. He brings you up and shows you shows you which rooms you're able to have. He unlocks them all and then turns and heads back down. Hestia, you receive a sending at this point. Before you can say or do anything else, let me send that to you.
Bokelian says, I'm gonna say this once we get into our rooms when we're in the privacy
Okay.
of our. So I'm gonna say, Bokelian sent me the Lich seems antsy. Followed him all day. Small vampire teleported away. What are you doing? I think they know about you. What have you found? I'm not quite sure what to tell him. We've found almost a lot of BS in politics.
He said it sounds like they've found us?
Yes. He says, what are you doing? I think they know about you. Because the small vampire teleported away. And the Lich seems antsy.
Hmm.
Do you think they could feel threatened by us being around here?
Maybe.
I
We should
feel
probably conclude our business quickly here, then, honestly. But I don't know. I feel like, if anything, ironically, Alexander is working for our protection because he needs us.
that is exactly what I was about to say. Is that I feel like right now we're guests.
So I can say Alexander is keeping us as guests.
He thinks that like wait. Let me see if we're out of character. He thinks that Alexander is, all the information he has about Alexander at this point is that he's just a notable figure in society. He doesn't know that he's some sort of maniacal anything, right?
Basically.
Should we tell him? Have we told him anything about what we suspect about Alexander, or have we just received information from him?
I think I mentioned in my last sending that Alexander is keeping people as zombies in his
All right, I was just trying to get caught up.
displays.
Well,
So
about Alexander, I think that he definitely has some influence, some authority in this area. He's not the only one. I bumped into a fledgling vampire the other day. Well, not the other day. What am I saying? Last night, and he and whoever he serves don't seem to really be affiliated with Alexander. So we may not be entirely safe here, but I do agree with your assessment that Alexander may serve to protect us.
Well, if there's a vampire that doesn't seem allied to anyone else, we could at least ostensibly look like we're trying to fulfill Alexander's request if we happen to run into him again. We are quested with getting a vampire to fill out his, if you can call it, artwork. So I don't know, I feel like we should at least prepare to subdue this would-be vampire if he shows his face again. I don't know how we would subdue a vampire, and if anyone has any idea.
I do.
Well, that's good. It sounds like we have a plan. I'm not going to ask you, Jasper, what you have in mind, because I doubt you will tell me, but...
All undead.
Okay.
So are we planning on subduing a vampire?
I think that should be our tentative plan, after hearing the news that there is one around, or maybe coming around.
Okay.
Just for out of game
A
reference,
small
do you
vampire
guys,
sounds like Abe.
do you know? Do you remember what the proposal that Alexander had given you was, or do you need me to refresh that? Because
I think I
Oh wait,
do.
no, Abe is a lich.
What? What'd you say, Nomad?
Sorry, I said small vampire, and I was like, oh, that's probably Abe, but then I remembered Abe is a lich. So, anyways, go on.
Did you want a recap of what Alexander's offer was to you? Or do you remember well enough? Because it has been, I think, like 3 or 4 weeks out of game since we had that conversation.
I think I remember.
Okay.
I think he wanted... Hold on, let me make sure I get it straight. I think he wanted 2 bodies, like humans-ish, that were mostly immaculate, and he wanted a vampire also mostly immaculate, but you can't really kill a vampire without making it not immaculate, so it's down to subduing. I think that's what we've come to, I think. Am I wrong about any of that? Or is it more elaborate than that?
He seeks an elderly woman around the age of, well,
In her
Well,
50s.
she would have gray hair.
Dark hair is the sorry, not dark hair, blonde hair is the description.
Not blonde, like dark hair. Maybe a bit
Sorry.
of gray. She'd be in her 50s.
I misspoke when I said dark. It's blonde hair.
Oh, it is
Which
blonde hair.
Which
Oh.
matches what the queen had in the exhibit as well.
okay.
Striking blonde hair, a shorter woman, probably in her 50s. And he told you, yeah, just that. And the body needs to be fresh.
And then a vampire male, which I doubt that our fledgling vampire would fit that description, just because he's not fully evolved into a vampire quite yet. But he did ask for 2 additional vampires, is my understanding, as a bonus, whatever that entails. I suppose it could meet that.
Can I have everybody roll a, what's it called, an intelligence check?
Sure.
Everybody.
Am I still under the
Oh,
effect?
right.
Am I still under the effects of the alcohol that we drank? Or is it, that was hours ago, wasn't it?
Oh,
20, 26.
Jasper's mega mind.
All right.
Mind size mega.
I will send a message to those who were high enough.
I'm gonna use restroom.
Rain blast.
Was I high enough?
You were actually. No, I'm just kidding. I think it was just. Oops. Crap.
Question.
2 of you.
While he's sending those things out, what do we want to say that we found to Volkelion? Have we even found anything?
Yeah. Location of the vault.
How to access it, more or less. We'll see what surprises await us in attempting to do so.
And inside the vault, what do we want to tell Volkelion about what we're doing in the vault?
What we're gonna do inside the vault, you said?
Yes.
Obtain the resources for... wasn't...
All right, I'm
I'm
back.
sorry. Was Bellevant there when we were like discussing that, and he said that he needed the Runite?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Then I would just say we're here to achieve. I mean, we're going to achieve Bellevant's objective with the resource, the Runite. I guess. I mean, we don't need to say the resource. We don't need to be secretive with him. What am I thinking?
Okay. So I have Alexander keeping us as guests to ensure we're safe, we're under protection, capturing a vampire for his purposes. Found the location and how to access vault to achieve Bellevant's objective.
All right.
So that's what I sent back.
That looks good to me.
Alright.
Okay, so what is it you're going to send to...
I put it in Fantasy Grounds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Nice. I like it.
Ow.
Yes, thank you. All right. What do you do? The night is swiftly coming on.
We just rush,
We
yeah.
could go to bed.
I get drunk.
Oh my gosh.
Give me a
Should
fortitude
we
save.
have anybody keep an eye out at night, or do you think we're safe here? I'm going to ask before we all disperse.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Should we keep an eye out at night, or do you think we're safe here in this inn?
I mean, I think we'll be safe for now.
Okay. I'll keep my owl just posted outside of our rooms, just in case. So, yeah.
DM, is there like a tub or like a washroom or something?
Yes. There is a washroom.
Would I be able to do the
Yes.
spell
Okay.
prep? Like, oh,
Yep.
sweet. Okay, good.
Gabriel, despite the fact that you are pounding beers like none other, you will not have a hangover in the morning. You're not getting drunk enough.
Is there any, like, musical instruments laying around the inn that I can just play for fun?
Not laying around. There is a hammer and dulcimer near the main part, but they're not like out and around for everyone to use. You could do it, but they're not like out in a place that advertises themselves to be.
Okay, I'll
utilized.
leave them alone then.
Oh.
Before Jasper does his nighttime doodads, he would actually like to speak with Mayleth. If
Oh, this
she's
is going to be great.
if she's feeling good.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, how are our room arrangements anyway? Like,
Oh,
any
God.
Of you, are any of you
Are we
rooming
get-
together?
well, I'm sure somebody's gonna want to room with me because they want to make sure I don't get into any trouble, right?
Well, no, I think you're
Any
harmless.
takers? Any takers?
I am going to get my own room because I am going to sing a little bit before bed. And also, I'm going to put a lantern outside of the inn.
Oh,
What are you wanting
You know,
to do, Jasper?
Actually,
well, no, I just wanted to know if there was like some way to have just like a one-on-one conversation with Mela. So I just first wanted to see what the room arrangements would have been.
There are enough rooms that you could all have your own room. If any of you are
Dang.
willing to room together, then you can room together. The city is not particularly busy at this time. Go ahead, Gabriel.
I just wanted to request a room with a balcony. That's all.
He tells you it'll be twice
And-
the cost. 2
I'll
gold
just
pieces
give
for
him.
your stay.
I'm gonna hold 5 gold pieces, and I'm gonna tell him, I want drinks. I want to get really drunk tonight. Any dwarven drinks that you have, the better. I'm gonna hand him 5
Sure, it's
gold.
a good idea to combine that kind of drinking with having a balcony. Seems like a good way to fall off the edge.
So
I
he looks
And
at it
both
for a
Think you
moment.
survive the fall?
He looks at it for a moment and says, "If you have another gold piece, I can see if I have a keg."
I'll give him 2 more gold pieces.
He practically
total
bows
of 7.
to you, and makes the gold disappear faster than you can think, and then runs away and shows you to the nicer room, and then brings you up an entire keg as well as probably 3 flagons. And this is like a big keg. Like
Nice.
you for a moment wonder, before you taste it, you're thinking, man, I'm not even paying a premium for this much. And then you taste it and you're like, I'm paying a premium. It's not the best beer you've ever had, but if you drink enough, you'll definitely get wasted.
That's a goal. And do you guys see my constitution roll? My fortitude roll?
Oh, it's taken you a while. You're gonna drain this whole thing.
I am drinking like a dwarf tonight.
oh, geez.
Trying to numb the pain, and the pain just won't go away.
Well, I guess nobody wants to room with Jasper, so he'll be in his own room.
Okay,
I have something.
I mean, if we want to be economic, Nomad is more than happy to room with somebody. He's not going to try to avoid anyone.
Yes,
But-
same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of how Malith is. Malith would room with someone just to keep stuff affordable, but she's also fine with her own space. Like, whatever.
Jasper would room with Nomad then, if we're looking for economy.
Okay. Prince, what is it that you were saying?
Oh, after I put the lantern outside of the inn, just a prestidigitation lantern, just gonna put it next to the door, hang it up somewhere. As I come in, is he already done doing all of this stuff with the barkeep? Or the owner of the tavern?
Gabriel?
Oh, Gabe?
Yes.
Yeah, you can go
What's
down
that?
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
After Gabriel does his whole thing.
I'm gonna go up to the barkeep
Okay.
and hold on. I have to feel how I want to word this. I think you feel as though this Jasper fellow that you've rented a room to is a bit suspicious. And I'm going to
He turns
suggest
to
you
you.
keep it.
Hold on, before you say more, he turns to you, and you can see he was he was looking at something in his hands, and he quickly puts it away and turns to you and says, "Sorry, you're talking to me?"
Yes, I am.
You hear a clink of coins as he puts his hands in his pockets. What were you saying, young master?
I
come
was
again?
saying that I get the feeling like you find this Jasper fellow that you've rented a room to recently as being a bit suspicious, especially for what's going on in the city lately, and that you are going to, I suggest that you keep an eye on him and report to me in the morning. And then I'm going to use suggestion
Okay.
as part of that.
Thank you. All right. Let's see his will save. Oh wow! What is the DC?
Hold on, let me figure that out.
Oh, wow!
It's just going to be a 22.
Here's the best part. He rolled a 19.
Oh,
rolled,
cool.
not with a bonus.
Okay.
He looks
Oh,
at
crap.
You, he looks at you amicably and says, "That is a good idea. I'll keep an eye on him. I'll prepare a report for you in the morning, because we wouldn't want him to know that I've been watching or anything. Do you think it'd be too much to watch his room, or should I just keep an eye from down here? I don't know. I suppose I should probably sleep."
You should sleep, but if you have time in the night, just keep an eye on the room. If you hear anything suspicious.
Yes. I'll do that. That's quite a clever idea. No, wouldn't want any trouble coming in these parts. And with that, he
Okay.
nods, and his hands kind of shuffle around in his pockets again. You hear the clinking of coins, and he says, "Is that all?"
That's all.
Well, thank you for your patronage, you and your companions, suspicious or not.
Okay, I'm going to go upstairs to my room.
Okay.
So Jasper talks to Nomad while in their room, says, I haven't really had the chance to have a happy reunion with Maleth like the rest of you did. Do you mind if I talk to her alone here for a few minutes? Just borrow the room.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll get up and leave. And real fast, this was a bit of an oversight for me. I would let people know that what I worked out, I would just go to every party member, what I worked out with Jasper, what he would let us know, in case something ever happened. Just to look for the coin. And I would just describe the coin and just the encounter that I had with him. To apprise everybody of what was going on.
Man, what kind of person
Jasper
is
will,
Jasper? He's gonna walk up to Nomad. Hey, can I share a room with you? It'll be more economy. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so could I use our room to talk to Maleth? Can you leave?
Established that I could have my own room anyway, so he could just visit me.
Oh wait,
You, Maleth.
No, he wants
Wait,
to
do
see
you have
you
Everybody has
in
their
his
own
and
room.
Nomad's room.
hold on. Do you have your own room?
Yeah, sure. Unless someone just
Okay,
wanted
fine.
to share with
Then I'm
me.
just gonna go visit you.
Okay.
So you're not kicked out, Nomad. Don't worry. I am heading out of the room.
But give me just a moment. I need to go grab a peach.
Why is everyone acting like something's gonna happen?
Well, because we don't
Like
really
something
know.
happened.
Like,
You
got taken
totally
away.
know, Jasper.
You got taken away by some suspicious people. We don't know what happened. You're a secretive person. Like, all the stuff is set up for you to be, like, pulling our leg in some way.
I have been very forthcoming.
We
Thank you
don't
very
know
much.
that.
Do you want to get tackled by a drunk Gabriel in his underwear?
Already have,
Again.
minus the drunk. Oh, he was drunk that night. Fine.
No, he wasn't, but yeah.
Prince is thinking that this is a very weird Inquisitor.
Anyway,
Maybe he
Maleth's
wasn't
room.
checking out your alignment before, or maybe he was checking out a different alignment.
Yes. All right, Jack.
So Jasper knocks at Maleth's room.
I guess Maleth would answer the door and be like, "Oh, Jasper, good to see you. How did everything go with, well, the muggers?" And she would use, like, scare quotes to refer to that.
Well, probably a similar story to your neck. Things turned out better than it looked like they would.
Figured as much. I'm still sorry for kind of botching my end of that.
No, I forgot to mention that I used a false name. I should have told you. I wanted to wish you well. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for when you came to. Do you mind if I step in?
Yeah, of course. Come on in. But yeah, that's not a big deal. I mean, pretty much as soon as we got back, we got carried into things with this Alexander Cohen guy, which is odd. It's been a whirlwind since I've been back.
Yeah. I mean, I have to know how do you feel? You were, I mean, you've been a Dhampir all your life, of course, but you were truly an undead, and in Pietro's, your, I mean, shame to call him it, but your father's territory, and you're alive now by some.
Yeah,
How did
it's a lot.
How did that happen?
It's a lot. I don't really. I'm not sure what knocked me unconscious, and then when I woke up when Hestia brought me to life, again, I had a couple conversations with Pietro, but otherwise the captivity was as good as I could expect. I mean, I couldn't use magic or do anything to fight or escape, so I kind of had to be on much more polite terms than I would want. But, except for the dying part, I was treated well. Pietro thinks I'm more amenable to him than I actually am. Again, a necessity for not being able to really use magic there. Can't really fight there was no sense fighting a battle I knew I was handicapped with. But
I know what you mean. When I had to face him, and I did not expect to have to face Pietro this early in our campaign here, and I knew I would be powerless to destroy him.
yeah, it was an odd experience. I spent my whole life wanting to kill him. Finally get to meet him and don't have the chance to kill him. And he's a bit different than I expected, but I don't know. Obviously, he's still kind of messed up. I hope my uncle gets back to me soon.
Your uncle.
Yes, my uncle.
Your mother's brother.
Yes. Yes, yes. Pietro gave me a bit of a different perspective on things. And I need to know what exactly is true and what isn't. I trust my uncle far more than I trust Pietro, but some things don't quite add up.
You're saying a lot while saying very little at the same time, but I'm not really sure where to start.
Yeah. Well, Pietro, how do I put this? He answered every question I have, and he gave me answers that, if I could trust it and it was all true, it would probably make me think completely different of him, but I don't trust it.
Why do you trust me right now? At least, well, what I mean is, you watched me like a hawk. And I suppose you had good reason to. I'm not forthcoming like Prince, although perhaps he's a little too forthcoming. It kind of gives me cause to want to keep my eyes on him a bit.
I mean, actually, your response to Prince is kind of why. You seem to know more about him than we did at first, and I was suspicious of him. I still am, to be honest, but you seem to know a bit more about things going on than the rest of us do, in some ways. And even though your behavior early on definitely raised some eyebrows, like you could have just talked to me about things. You've had plenty of opportunity to screw us all over if you wanted and haven't.
I would screw myself over if I did something to harm any of you. You and I both know that while we're here for the mission,
you cut out a minute there.
You all know. At least I imagine you know that even though we're here for a common purpose, as for redeeming Zelkir, right? That we all have a personal stake in what we're doing here. But I don't think that what you and I seek goes against that. So we're a team.
Malith will nod and say, I think so too. I just hope our various personal reasons for being here don't divide us too much.
You mentioned how the reasons for distrusting me, how it had to do with my just kind of holding things back or doing things, putting myself in a position where I could easily screw you over.
Yeah,
and you may have guessed. You
go ahead.
Sorry.
I was also going to say, yeah, and you made it kind of. At first, I thought you were heavily against me for being a Dhampir, but you seem to be over that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I was about to get into. Have you met any other Dhampirs in your life?
No. I have not. I was raised among humans, and as I gained the skills to hunt other undead, I focused on vampires and those actually harming people. I've not really ever heard of or met the Dhampir who was of that ilk, I guess.
They're not common. I mean, compared to vampires, they're not common, but my understanding of Dhampirs is that, well, if you could just summarize them into two categories, you have the ones who seek out their vampire parent to take revenge for wronging them and wronging the rest of the world, and there are other vampires who, in their curiosity, seek to know their vampire parent and, well, become an enemy to those of us who seek a better world, one that's free of the atrocities that Pietro and many others would inflict upon us. And I didn't want to assume that you were the kind that really sought revenge for your father, but and if you did, after being captured by him, I had to assume that he may have changed you. But my familiar, as off-putting as he can be, he does have an eye for things, and he was able to attest to me of the good nature of you. And that was after you returned to us too. I needed somebody who could see something that I couldn't see. I was too concerned about what if. What if you wanted to seek Pietro not to avenge yourself and everyone he's harmed, but what if you sought him to be like him, to join him? I was worried about that possibility. But I see that I was mistaken, and I'm deeply sorry for the mistreatment I gave you. I just didn't want to... Well, what I'm trying to say is I need an ally, not just for this great overarching mission that we have, but I need someone that I can trust when it comes to stopping Pietro. And if I could have the assurance that you are against whatever evil he would wish to inflict on this world, then you would be the greatest ally I can have in this cause. More than anyone.
Malith is going to smile and say, I thank you for your perspective and apology. I do deeply appreciate it. And I am your ally here. That said, I am kind of curious what you know of Pietro and the atrocity he wants to unleash. You seem to have more of a personal history with him than most. How do I put this? As I said, I don't trust him at all after meeting him. But some aspects of him did surprise me. And I guess I don't want him to make anyone suffer as my family has suffered or as people in Zelkia are currently suffering. But I guess we were drawn here by political maneuvering and that perspective that can always view one way. And I never met him before the other day, and I guess my point is, what makes you so resolved against him? Exactly.
Jasper looks at the ring on his finger and says, I've always had a fierce dispassion towards the evil of undeath. And with Pietro, it's no exception, but even more so, he took the one I love most away from me.
Malith is going to look very sad on her face and say, I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Pietro is the creator of Emmeline Tempest. And Emmeline Tempest betrayed my wife.
Maleth is gonna look kind of odd at that and say, this Emmeline Tempest, you say she betrayed your wife. Does that mean she was a close friend of your wife before, or does that mean she was your wife and betrayed her values?
It's a story that I'm not willing to share. A man has his pride, and I'd rather not show emotion in front of someone that looks much younger than me.
Maleth would have looked very serious and sad until you said that, and then she would just look confused and like she was about to burst out laughing. She's like, I'm not sure what age has to do with this here. I respect your privacy and your sentiments on it, but we are teammates here and allies. You don't have to be stoic just because I'm much younger than you. Especially not when I expect to have a longer lifespan than most.
I'll tell you the story. I don't want to take up too much time, so should I just summarize? Because I want to be able to explore everyone else's stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
But so, and you can interrupt, Maleth. So Jasper explains how he, through his services to Pharasma, met a follower of Pharasma, and how they basically worked mostly as a duo, but then one day there was a threat so great, and that was this vampire Pietro, and he actually had a harem, so a large vampire wives and all his fledglings and such. So Jasper and his wife and other followers of Pharasma, actually, they banded together for this particular one, with Jasper at the lead, and they infiltrated Pietro's territory and basically killed off his harem and nearly Pietro as well, and he actually managed to escape, mortally wounding Jasper's wife, but she managed to survive. But not long after that, Emmeline, who had been turned by Pietro, killed Jasper's wife.
Maleth will look very somber through this story and say, I am so sorry to hear that. That sounds terrible, but it is the perspective on Pietro I needed. Very different than he tried to portray himself, of course. I wish I could say I was surprised.
the end of the story, actually kind of before the end of it, Jasper is not really making any crying sounds, but there are tears coming out of his eyes, and he quickly kind of looks down to make it not as noticeable.
Maylith noticed that, she would just grip his shoulder, just kind of in a supportive, friendly way, but not that much affection or anything. Just kind of like a bro would, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, at this point, Jasper gets up, walking to the door, but he turns back and he says, "You know, even it's ironic that for who you descend from, your vampire lineage, and even temporarily being an undead as you were, I see you now, and this whole time you've been more alive than I've been. Whatever conviction you brought with you to stop Pietro, to redeem this place, and to make a better life for yourself, don't lose that."
Okay, so Maylith's eyes would actually be watery at that. She wouldn't cry, but they would be watery, like it'd be clear that it hit something deep. And she would say, "Thank you, I appreciate you for mentioning that. And thanks for sharing your story. You definitely have an ally with me."
Jasper grins as best as he
I'm gonna
can, given the
interject for a
circumstances.
second. As you go to respond to that, Jasper, you hear a loud noise, and the inn shakes a little bit. And you hear a crash coming from the entrance to the inn.
Swipes away his tears.
And all the rest
Did
of
we
you,
all hear that?
you will all hear that. I think that the perception check to hear that would be like a -5, probably.
Okay, Maylith would immediately
I'm gonna-
step out of her moment and be like, "What is that?"
I'm going downstairs. Check it out.
Okay. As you make your way to the base of the stairs, you see out in front of the inn a small group of people. Actually, real quick, Gabriel, you'd be out drinking on your balcony, I presume?
Yeah.
You actually hear this from right around the corner, because you're to the side of the higher level of the inn, so you actually see kind of a flash of light, and you have a better view of all the stuff going on. You don't have a direct view, but there appears to be a fight or something happening out in front of the inn.
Can I see this as I'm coming down the
as
stairs?
as you come down, you would see probably 6 or 7 figures out in front of the inn, and facing them down, you see 2 or 3. It's hard
I
for
am
me to tell
going to
details.
climb
Okay.
from the. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna summon violin and start playing and try to do a distract in all of their direction.
Okay.
If that's
Can I climb to the roof from the balcony?
Yes. Go ahead and make a climb
Okay.
check. And you're going to take a penalty because you've been drinking.
All right.
Yeah, you'll still get up there. You're a little bit shaky. There's a few parts, like you start going up, and then you reach for something, and you realize that's not a hold, and then you eventually find it. You do that a few times as you're going up. Takes you a little bit longer than normal, but you're able to get up.
Not distract, fascinate. I'm sorry, that's what.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay, so you get up to the top, Gabriel. As you look down, and everyone else, you're going to kind of see this from the entryway. You see what appears to be 3 skeletons that are being accosted by 6 figures that are out in the moonlight. And it's hard to see direct figures, but they all appear to be wearing cloaks with the hoods pulled back, and it looks like a fight is breaking out between them. And Gabriel, what do you do?
I rolled the
when you're up
stealth.
there? Okay, you roll a stealth. Okay, you're definitely being stealthy enough.
Right, and I am going
Real
to...
quick, roll an intelligence check. And this is going to take place with a -4. So just roll intelligence, then I'll deduct 4. Okay, you're good. Go ahead.
3.
Okay, so
I'm going to, while I'm laying down, being stealthy,
mhm.
I'm going to knock an arrow. I'm not going to pull, but I'm going to knock an arrow, and I'm going to look at them, try and figure out a little more of what's going on. Like, who's fighting the skeletons? Are those skeletons supposed to be keepers of the peace in the city?
Okay, so
Yeah.
you reach back, grab
Best-
your bow, and as
yeah.
you reach for the string and the fletching, you realize as you look down, you're holding a random stick, and as you look around, it occurs to you that your weapons and your gear are all in your room.
Do I have any knives on me?
Nope. You left 100%
I mean, you were
of your
drinking.
adventure- So what you did, and that was what the intelligence check was for, and it was low enough for you to have at least forgotten your main weapons without being inebriated. You were so intent on your drinking, you literally got into your room and without even thinking about it, you're just like pounding it, and you dropped everything down. You went out on the balcony and you just started downing beer. Had nothing else with you, and then you heard the commotion. You're just like, oh, let me just get up there. Oh, and my bow, and you just reach back, and there's a stick sitting there on the what's it called, on the roof, and you're like, that's my bow, and you pull it around, and oh crap. You are
Okay.
pretty much you are in the next step up above your undergarments. You're pretty much in your pajamas, and that's
Okay.
all you've got is you and your pajamas. But as you look down, the skeletons appear to be having a more defensive stance, and the 6 figures surrounding them, kind of in a semicircle, are pressing in. Several have weapons drawn, but several do not. And you can't quite hear the sounds that they're making towards each other, but they are definitely talking. Prince, what is it that your effect does?
I can target up to 4 people or things to fascinate. They get a DC 24 to overcome it.
Can
But
it affect undead, and who is it that you're targeting? There are 6 figures and then 3 skeletons.
it can affect undead. I am going to do the hostile parties. You said that the undead look like they're defensive?
Yes, the skeletons look as if they're kind of adopting a defensive stance.
Alright, then I'm going to shoot it at the
Okay.
aggressors.
Can I walk out there and just try to communicate with somebody?
Yes, you can. Okay.
I'll do that when I'm able then.
As you do so, Nomad, you begin to step out, and 4 of the aggressors, as you get close enough, you actually go ahead and make not a perception check. Give me a knowledge religion check. Okay. As you approach, you notice 4 of the aggressors suddenly become a bit more passive. They appear to be distracted and even listening. And as you are getting out there, you hear the twangs and sweet melodies of what Prince is playing, and it occurs to you that whatever he's doing, it is at least pacifying somewhat 4 of these. And the other 2, as you approach, they say, or they bare their teeth at you, and you recognize fangs that stand out in the moonlight. You're looking at 2, probably 6 vampires spawn. You can see the differences versus a fully fledged vampire. It is quite evident to you in your experience. But what is it called? But the look, it's a less full look. They look a bit more gaunt than a vampire, and there are a lot more blemishes on their skin. You can tell that they are it's almost as much a combination of vampirism and that of being a zombie. I mean, you can see splotches. They appear to have a blood deficiency of some sort in the way that their skin looks, and yet there's still hints of vampirism as well. And as you approach, they turn to you and say, "Our prey comes to us. The night is quite fruitful." The 3 skeletons that stand in between you and the vampire spawn do not pay you any mind. They don't even seem to notice you.
Then I will pull out my whips and I will say, "You picked the wrong prey this time." And I will ready an action to just trip any that try to approach me.
Okay.
And I will yell, "Everybody get out here."
Does anybody
I'll run out
else
to the
take
hall.
action?
I'm gonna run out into the hall.
Okay.
I can do a suggestion to someone I've fascinated.
Okay.
Is there time to do that now?
There is.
I will speak to one of these, the one that seems like it might be in charge of these group. I don't know if there's any discernible features between them. But
There's nothing between the 4 that you have fascinated that might set them apart from one another in terms of authority.
okay, well, then I will say it to whichever. I guess I have to pick one. I guess it doesn't matter which one I pick, but I'll pick one, and I will. I'll say, "It seems you've made a lot of commotion out here that you weren't intending to make. I suggest that you." Do they have weapons?
Yes. 3 of the ones that you fascinated had swords drawn. 1 had claws bared, and you can see extended, definitely not just hands, but like claws and very long fingernails, almost as long as a short knife coming off of his hands.
Did I get the same impression as Nomad that these are like fledgling vampires?
Yes. As you get closer, you'll see more. You have go ahead and roll actually a knowledge religion check, and let's see how much you do know about vampires.
I'm sorry, out of game? I don't think I'm 100%. What is a fledgling vampire?
So,
like just like a very low level one, or like a young one?
A weak person who is turned into a vampire, or at least partially turned into a vampire, becomes vampire spawn. They in many ways are like vampires, but they're much weaker, and they don't carry a lot of the capacity and ability that a vampire has. I'm going to double check right now, but I'm fairly certain vampire spawn, for example, while they have a lot of the traits. Oh, actually, they do have the ability to dominate, but pretty much all of their abilities are significantly weaker, and they do not have the capacity to actually create other vampires.
Alright, well, I am just going to use my bard ability to take a 10, and it's a 30.
Okay, yeah, you know all the things that I just told Nomad.
Okie dokie.
Oh, and as part of my turn earlier, can I swift cast a divine favor?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm trying to remember. Divine Favor is what bonus again?
+1 to hit and damage.
Okay.
Luck bonus, but it's 3 for my level. Or sorry,
Okay.
4.
All right. Well, finishing my sentence about the fascinate, I'm just gonna say to finish it off. I suggest you lay down your weapon and return to your master. You've made too much noise.
And the DC on that is what again?
Oh, the suggestion might be the same thing as the other one. Hold on. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's going to be a 24.
Okay. All right, give me a moment.
Wait, 6 plus 7. No, wait. Yeah, that's right.
Let me verify a will save.
Yeah, it is a will save.
Yeah, I'm just verifying what his will save is. For some reason, I'm not finding it. Okay. So what was the DC again?
24.
He looks at you and says, "No, I don't think I will. Who are you that I should follow your instructions, human?"
Just someone who's witnessed you make a lot of noise in the middle of the street.
And as you look to the side, by the way, you notice there is a cart that has been destroyed nearby, and there is the body of a skeleton kind of sticking out haphazardly from it.
Okay, well, there are other things I can do, but I think I've used up my time for
Okay.
whatever else is about to happen.
Can you let me know when Charlemagne arrives? I just have something to say to him.
Yeah,
That's all.
he would come up behind you around now, probably. He
Okay,
doesn't have
and-
his armor on, but he has his sword out.
And was there any... What was the makeup of weapons again? I can't remember.
3 swords, and 2 of them have claws out, and then one of them... I'm trying to think. One of them would just have 2 daggers.
Okay, I would just let him know... I would just tell him, stay by me, and cut them down as they fall.
He nods. "You think you'll so easily fell us, human?" says one of the vampire spawn.
I give him a small, sly grin, and that's it.
They adopt a bit of a defensive stance, and the 2 that are not focusing on the music played by Prince step back a little and try to move to the side, as if trying to get on the side of you and flank you. And they glance over to the other
I'm sorry,
4.
who's trying to flank me?
The 2 vampires. They're not going behind because you still have your back to the inn. They're going to the other side so that you have kind of vampires to this side and vampires to that side, but still in front of you. And the 2, as they move over, they glance over to the other vampires and say, "Fools. We must move. We must work together. What are you doing?" And the 4 don't respond. They continue entranced by Prince's music. Do any of the rest of you do anything?
I am prepared in action.
As Jasper's
I-
limping his way down.
I have a stick, and I am hidden up on the roof. When one of them tries to attack one of my friends, namely Nomad at this point, I'm going to jump from the roof on top of them and try and stab them with the stick.
This sounds terrible.
By the way, as
I am drunk.
as Hestia, Prince, and Charlemagne approach the one of the skeletons turns and turns to you and reacts to you coming up close, and turns to you and kind of motions to get back.
sounds like
Go ahead.
no, nothing. That was
Malith and
Attic.
Jasper, what are you doing?
I mean,
Trying not to fall down the stairs.
yeah, Malith will be going down the stairs to see what's going on, but not really getting ahead of Jasper to make sure he doesn't fall with his peg leg.
Yeah.
Poor Jasper. We had just been able to rest. The leg would have been yours again.
Yep.
Just need that lesser regenerate spell cast on you, but time for that later. So as you're coming down, Nomad, do you make any aggressive action, or are you still just waiting?
Is anyone within my range?
Yes, you're within probably 10 feet of the vampires.
Okay. I'll swift cast a bull strength then.
One of the vampires lunges to you, and the other goes towards its companions. Both provoke an attack of opportunity from you.
Okay.
And at this point, or what are you going to do? The one lunges to you, the other.
The ones that are provoking attacks of opportunity, I will trip both of them.
Okay, go ahead and make your rolls. You already did. Okay, the one leaps towards you in the air, and as he does so, you're able to wrap your whip around him and kind of crash him into the ground. And Charlemagne, with his weapon at the ready, strikes downward. As he does so, you can see the blow connect, though his sword has much reduced effect than what you would expect from a sure hit as he had. Gosh, 1 second. Just verifying something. Yes, okay. So his sword seems to have less effect than you would expect with how hard he struck, but he's able to strike. Because actually, correct me if I'm wrong, you do have the feat that allows your trips to provoke attacks of opportunity, correct? I guess it won't matter either way because he had a ready action. But do you have that feat yet, Nomad?
No, I do not.
Okay. So he uses
didn't
his
know that
ready
was a
action. I thought that's what you were building towards. That when you trip someone, they provoke an attack of opportunity to other people. Either way.
I mean, that's when they get up. So they either have to spend the entire fight on the floor or get up and provoke an attack.
Okay, I see. Must have been my misunderstanding. Either way, Charlemagne had a ready action, and he strikes at the vampire, and he pierces its shoulder. Though, again, for the strength of the blow, it does surprisingly little effect. The other vampire, as it's lunging towards its companions, you are able to kind of wrap around its hand and pull it off balance, and it falls to the ground. Not very graceful.
Wait. That vampire was attacking its own?
It was lunging towards them. For what reason, you can't be sure, because you pulled it off balance and tripped it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought they were both coming towards me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just one.
If
one
I
going
can, not. I would just do the one that's coming towards me.
Oh, okay. Then the other one, he gets to his companions and he begins to shake them, but your attack also seems to have removed whatever effect they were under. Yes.
Okay.
Gabriel.
Actually, before the other one can get to them, I'm going to jump on that one.
Okay. Go ahead and let's see how well you get there before he gets to them. Go ahead and give me your attack roll.
What kind of attack roll do I roll for this?
CMB.
CMB.
And then after this, I'm going to need an initiative from everyone. I'm not going to do I'm going to do Theater of the Mind for this fight, but yeah, give me a CMB.
I have no idea what that
Where's my CMB?
CMB or Theater of the Mind, Prince?
The Theater of the Mind. But
I'm not going to have a battle map. I'm just going to describe it all to you.
Okay. The CMB is right under your base attack bonus in combat.
Well, he's just having a hard time finding it because
Oh, right there. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no!
I knew this was gonna
Oh,
be
gosh.
I knew it.
Okay.
I
And he
knew it.
slams
I
him by
knew it.
accident, just falls on top of him.
But isn't there like a rule where if you're drunk and you nat 1, you pull like a Jar Jar Binks where you mess up so bad that it's like the most successful thing you could possibly do?
What?
No,
That's a thing. That's a thing. Like Jar Jar Binks is rolling nat 1s, but because he's Jar Jar Binks, it turns into like a nat 20. Like in the Gungan battle,
so
like
here's,
Gungans versus
here's my
droids.
thoughts on that. Let's see. So this roof is probably about 20 feet high. Second, two-story building. Yeah, you're talking probably 20 to 25 feet high. Gabriel, you fall because you kind of lunged them. Your foot catches on the side of the. Are you wanting to say something?
I do have a battle cry.
Okay.
It is gonna be
Scream on the way
So let me tell you what's happening, and you can give your battle cry as this happens. So
Okay.
as you fall, screaming your battle cry, you connect right into the body of one of the skeletons, and it just crumples under your weight. The bones clatter to the side, and you are gonna take. Let's see. I'll roll it, but it's gonna be 3d6 damage. 1d6 of that is non-lethal. Wow, Fantasy Grounds is just going slow today. Are you guys having that as well?
No, not really.
You take 1 point of non-lethal damage and 11 points of lethal damage. And your side... Yeah, actually, you're probably drunk enough right now that you can't feel the pain, but you're going to be feeling it in the morning. You bruised a rib in that fall for sure. Not just the skeleton's rib. You bruised your own rib. You probably cracked the skeleton's rib. Like there was some crunching going on as you hit the ground on it, and it clatters to the ground, and the sword that it was wielding also clatters to the ground in front of you. So
That's not bad.
there is that. But yeah, you are
Alright.
currently prone on
He
the
was
ground.
just trying to get a
with the
weapon.
skeleton. You do also have the stick in your hand too.
He's gonna dual wield.
I mean, the stick is probably like 6 inches total.
I mean, that makes it better.
Hey, 6 inches makes a difference, man.
He's gonna dual wield, drunkenly dual wielding Inquisitor.
Okay, so with
Alright,
long sword
I'm
on the ground
gonna
in
do
front of you,
this.
I need
Gabriel!
Are we rolling initiative? Is that
everybody
what's
roll
happening?
initiative. As Gabriel, so Malith and Jasper, as you get down to the bottom of the stairs, you look forward as one of the vampires lunges towards Nomad and immediately drops to the ground, and the other lunges towards its companions. As you hear Gabriel, and then a figure just crushes one of the skeletons into the ground, and you recognize that figure as Gabriel, and just prone on the ground, just belly flop right there. Okay. So everyone's initiative. Let me write this down. Okay, good. Okay. Gabriel, you are
Yeah.
first. Oh wait, you have 2 initiative rolls.
Yeah, so I accidentally rolled twice.
Okay,
That's
I'll
why I
put
put
you at
I'm
one.
10, not 19.
Okay.
So I'm a 10 on the initiative, not 19.
Okay. Nomad, you are first in the initiative order. The one vampire dropped to the ground, but the other 5 are readying themselves as they shake off the effects of Prince's Fascinate. Your turn is first. What do you do?
Okay. Swift cast a Channel Vigor.
Okay.
And I'm going to use the haste portion of that. 1 sec.
Yep. Bailiff, you're on deck, by the way. And you're probably more healed from what you're showing right now. I'm presuming you're at more than 14.
What?
Or Malith is showing 66 damage and 80 hit points. I'm fairly
Oh.
certain she's got more than that at the moment.
And then yeah, I'm going to just let it rip, I guess, on that vampire that I tripped.
Okay. You just strike him with your whip.
Sorry, one sec. Yes.
Okay.
And then my offhand.
Oh, are you attacking with both weapons?
Yes.
Do you have two-weapon fighting?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh.
And I'll roll to confirm for that first attack.
That will be a crit. All
And
right,
that's
so
times 2. So that's for the first one.
the
First attack.
oh wait, no, I'm mixing up something from Pathfinder 2. Okay. Let me double check hit points here.
And then that's for the second attack, and then for the offhand attack.
Let me double check actually exactly how you. Alright, so you strike the vampire spawn with your whip, and the one that crit was your silver threaded whip, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that first attack, actually, I'm gonna say this. So your second attack, that was, let me double check if that was a hit as well. Okay, so your second attack was a hit, but I'm gonna say that one hit first. So your first whip hit kind of lashes across it, and the scent of blood fills the air as the vampire is struck on the gut. And then your second whip hit, the point of your whip, as you kind of strike down, you just get the timing of the lash perfect, and the point of the whip actually embeds itself right into the heart of the vampire, and it screams and bursts into flames and is almost instantly consumed.
Okay.
The other 5 vampires. Oh, actually, I need to get initiative for them. Okay. Duly noted. Okay, they'll act between Jasper and Hestia. Okay, Malith, you hear a screech as the one vampire is eviscerated by Nomad's strike. So for context, Nomad, you actually go ahead and roll a. No, I won't break up the flow of combat. We'll talk about that after. Okay.
Okay.
Malith, you're up. And then I believe Jasper, you're on deck.
I just realized I just asked a question and I was muted and you were not ignoring me.
Oh, yeah. I was not trying to ignore you. I apologize.
Hey, don't skip me. I think I beat Jasper's initiative.
Okay.
Did you now?
What's your question, Malith?
Oh, I was asking what is left and how close are each of them to one another.
There are 5 vampires that are all next to each other. There are 2 skeletons that are facing one of them is facing the newcomers. One of them is kind of looking at its companion that has been crushed by a drunken Azamar. And then the other is crushed by a drunken Azamar. And then the vampires are all about 30, 40 feet in front of you. And
Out
they're
of
kind
character, I
in
don't know.
in a semicircle.
I don't know if Malith was here for this conversation, but we
Mhm.
do have a tentative plan. I just want to put that out there. I don't know if she was AFK or not.
I don't think I
But does
was.
Maleth know that?
I mean, I said it amongst everybody, but
What
Yeah,
was
but I
your
have a
tentative
feeling that
plan?
was
I
when-
am not recalling that.
we were trying to capture vampires,
Ah, yes.
and these are vampires.
Yeah, do I need to make any roll to see if Malith heard it? Because, like, I'm not sure if that would have been when she was still on the stairs with Jasper or something.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Okay. Because if so, I have to rethink what I was going to do. I kind of just assumed she was on the stairs, but then I was like, well, my perception of time as a player may be different than what actually happened. So,
Okay, 14, you did not hear it.
okay. Cool. Well, in that case, I am going to get close enough to use Fire Snake.
Okay, what does Fire Snake do?
I create a sinuous line of flame so I may shape as desired. It can affect 1 5-foot square per caster level, and each square must be adjacent to the previous square, starting with me. It can't extend beyond its maximum range, which was 60 feet, and creatures in the path of the fire take 1d6 points of fire damage per caster level.
Okay.
The saving throw is reflex half, whatever that means.
Okay, so that is going... Go ahead and roll damage. That's going to be the 10d6. And... Yeah,
Wait,
you'll
do I
be
have to
They
able
roll
to...
for
reflex save, they
too?
take half damage.
Yeah.
I will roll reflex saves for them.
Okay. And it's... Oh wait, I rolled the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Ignore that
How
roll.
dare you.
I accidentally clicked the wrong dice. I don't think it went anyway.
I didn't see it, but... And then what's your DC?
That's a good question. I need to figure out what that would be now for a reflex save at level 10.
Oh my.
Sorry. I'm not used to...
Look at that.
Oh.
What are you apologizing for?
Oh, I thought that,
Yeah.
what he said was against me not knowing what the reflex save was.
No, the damage. Leon would be so proud.
That's the new spell I took.
Okay. What? Oh yeah, that is a 5th level spell. Alright,
He's gonna
what's the
kill
DC?
everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out because I don't remember how to calculate that off
It
the
is
top of
going
my
to
head.
be your base DC plus the spell level.
Base DC plus spell level?
Yes.
Okay. DC. Or spell level, sorry. But where do I find that on the character sheet? I am so
If
sorry.
yeah, you're good. You pull up it. Come on, we do combat so much. You should know this, like the back of your
I know.
hand.
Oh wait, DC against spells is 14 plus spell level. I
Yes.
have that. Plus 1 of an evocation spell because of one of my feats or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
So that'd be a 1920.
yes. I did have it written down, like right in front of my face.
Okay. Well, each of the vampire spawn bursts into flames. How careful were you to not hit any of your allies with this as well?
I would have tried to be as careful as possible.
Okay. So, if you had to choose between it running through an ally or hitting the top of the hearth of the building, which would you have chosen?
Depends on which ally.
Let's see. In the
That's
threshold,
fair.
you have Charlemagne, Hestia, and Prince.
Okay, so is it the choice between hitting all of those?
Hitting
or is it-
one of them. So pretty much you have to get the fire snake through the threshold. So you'll either go through the threshold or through one of them in order to get out to where the vampires are.
Okay.
Because it has to
does-
start at you, and then you have 50 feet to get out there. So
And I'm guessing the threshold poses some risk of fire to the entire building.
potentially.
Okay, so can I make it go through Prince then?
Oh gosh!
Malus would scream that she was sorry as soon as she did it.
Make a reflex save, Prince.
Potentially, if the whole building is gonna get burnt down, then that risks everyone in it. So, like,
Let's see a reflex save, Prince.
Hey, Prince, you got this. Oh no!
Oh, Prince, you watch as the vampire to the left of you is just struck twice by, first struck by Charlemagne, stabbing it as it drops to the ground, and second, just a 1-2, Nomad hits it with the first whip, and then the second whip just right in the heart, and it just combusts, and kind of explodes in a burst of fire and ash and blood. Now, as that happens, you turn to the other 5 vampires, that 4 of which have just been relinquished from your influence, and the air around you, not even the air around you, you feel a great warmth at your center. And for a moment, you think it is the approval of Ashava for the exercise of control over the undead that you just were able to accomplish. And then that heat very quickly becomes uncomfortable to the point of burning pain. And you see a stream of, as the light behind you kind of starts to flare and flash, you see fire erupt from your chest as it shoots forward through the skeleton in front of you and just snakes through all 5 of the remaining vampires, and with a scream they all erupt into flame and crumple in ash and the smell of burnt flesh and blood. You're going to take 42 points of damage.
Oh no!
for the record, Malus would be screaming that she's sorry and she hopes he's okay.
Prince officially thinks that you're probably the dumbest person we have here, considering that was completely not to plan at all. It has nothing to do with what was actually going on downstairs.
To hear your plan.
Whatever. It wasn't my plan. It was like... Anyways, go ahead.
I didn't hear your plan. I was just like, burn one person or risk the entire building. And everyone in it.
Prince, wounds can be healed. Buildings cannot.
Yeah, we're not talking yet because we're still kind of like technically in combat. I think.
I'm not saying that in character.
In pain, like this is hot.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to react.
Okay, let's see who's next in the initiative order. Oh,
I think it's me, but I rolled a 21.
Okay, let me pull that back up. Yeah, Jasper, you're next. You just watched this all happen. The fire just snaking its way right through Prince, one of the skeletons, and all 5 remaining vampires. Whether or not there's anything left of those vampires is hard to tell from where you're at. But here you are. Are you going to do anything?
I'm just gonna walk out, or just walk down and walk towards the door, or whatever's left of it, because I guess there was a big bang sound. What do I see? Do I just see one skeleton at this point?
You see one skeleton standing that is... If a skeleton could look confused, this one does. It's pretty much going like this towards all the people standing in the threshold. It doesn't seem to totally have noticed the 2 skeletons next to it that have been destroyed. But you're able to look out from without going through the threshold. So it's pretty much going to take most of your turn to get up close enough to see. But you can see the charred bodies of 5 vampires right there. Just right outside.
All right. Well, I guess. I'm not going to step out of the inn, but
Okay.
I'm going to peek out. And I'm going to cast... Oh, I don't know what happened there. How come I can't... Ah. Here, I'll just type it to you.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right. And
Oh, well, I guess-
is there any visible? Is there any visible result of that to anybody else, or what would they see?
Well, I guess they'd see... Do they see?
That's per the spell. Is that right?
I mean, I don't know if you really see anything. Like I'm looking.
I mean, it's a verbal, somatic, and focus component. So
Yeah.
yes. Everybody who's nearby, go ahead and make a spellcraft check if you can. Except for Gabriel, you're not allowed to. You're way too drunk. But everyone who has spellcraft can try to identify the spell that he is casting right now. Okay. And, alright, that awkward moment where I don't know if anybody made the check. Give me one moment. Okay. Maleth and Hestia, you both recognize that he is casting the spell Create Soul Gem.
And what does that do?
It, in essence, allows you to draw forth the life force or the soul of a dying creature, or a creature that has very recently died.
Counterspell. Just. And who is he targeting?
I mean, he appears to be targeting one of the vampires, though there's not... Oh, actually, you, Hestia, you can see as one of the souls of the vampires. The rest seem to be kind of lingering around the bodies, but you notice something that you recognize as the soul of one of them is sort of drawn, the best way that you can describe it, kicking and screaming towards Jasper, and then there is silence.
Big oof. Alright.
Did you say big oof?
I did.
I just can't get over that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Wow, do you like your soul to have that happen? I don't think you'd like it. So I guess that's the vampire. Well, we're gonna try and kill all these vampires and hope one of them.
They're dead.
Okay.
They're all like ash, aren't they?
Yeah, they're gone.
They are not ash, but they are certainly burned and charred.
Are they all dead? Yes, you already said that. I guess if they're burned, we can't really use them for the puppet master. Should I try and heal them?
Well, how long do you wait while you're looking at them? We're out of combat initiative. The one skeleton kind of looks at everything that's going on. It looks back and forth, and then it just starts to walk away.
Yeah, I don't wait long.
Okay.
So, can I do a heal check and just see if I can be able to regrow some skin?
Yeah. As you start watching them, you see that all but one of them appears to be regenerating.
Oh. Oh, it's because they're vampires.
I would like to walk over and finish him off.
Okay.
They're regenerating.
So
Wait, are we not in combat anymore?
you're not in
we
combat
might
anymore.
be yet. But if they come back, that wouldn't be good.
Is Malith undead?
She
Ooh,
is
I
not.
can
Wait, since we're out of combat, could I use Dispel Magic against the thing that's trying to cast that spell me and Hestia just identified?
It was Jasper that cast that spell.
Oh, never mind, sorry. I thought it
I'm
was...
gonna cast.
I mean, you can
Eternal.
you can dispel it if you want. I don't know.
No, if you're doing it, I wouldn't. I would want to make sure Prince is okay.
I mean, I just took half my health and fire damage, so I'm not sure that I'm okay, and...
Malith would be apologizing profusely and seeing if anyone would be able to heal him. For the record, if anyone's curious about that,
Oh,
from
actually,
player perspective, it's like, okay, medieval times, haven't seen anyone use any sort of water spell. Fire is devastating and could have harmed everyone around.
I
It's
need
a
to
possibility.
recon something. I just realized that I misread something about the vampires. So all but one of them, after a moment, turned into gaseous form and began starting to float
Okay,
and move away.
Can I cast the thing that
What were you wanting to cast?
I want to cast? Rest Eternal. It makes it so a dead creature cannot be revived. I want to cast it on the one that fits the description most.
Let me pull up the spell real quick.
Fear me. Am I so-
So Rest Eternal will prevent them from being resurrected or being communicated with. It will not, however, stop the vampires from from regenerating via fast healing. And you would know that.
The closest vampire that's running away,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to do a performance untethering steps. I'm also going to do Songbird with it to give it a +3. I'll tell you what it does here in a second.
Okay.
Is there just one leaving in gaseous form?
4. Only one of them is staying.
But one of the ones that's leaving, I'm going to do untethering steps. What it does is... And it's like a move action, so I should be able to do something else with it too. But what it does is... attempts to perform check dance skill and compares the result to the target's CMD scores. Any target whose CMD is equal to or exceeded by the result of the perform check becomes sickened. Any target that is exceeded by 10 becomes staggered.
Okay.
And this is going to have a +3 on it.
Okay.
And that gets just one of them.
Yeah, just one.
Oh, just one.
After he's done with that, I'll want to cast something if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are there any within my range?
Yes, but the gaseous form is not something you would be able to directly target with your physical weapons. You would know
I would do
much at least.
I would do my class's version of Cure Light Wounds Mass.
But
Dude.
So I'm staggering the one.
Okay.
And I still am going to do something else with this too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll wait until he's done.
Tell me what happens with that first.
With my thing or with your
Oh,
with
no,
your
with,
thing? Sorry.
the
gonna get
43
out.
against whatever their CMD is.
Okay. So you said you do
If
the
I-
one is staggered and just
Or
completely.
the first one's sickened,
Okay.
and then they also get staggered if I exceed it by 10.
Okay, yeah. That definitely happened.
All right, and then so that should give them a -4 on their DCs. I think that's what staggered does,
Okay. Go
among
ahead.
other things.
And also
I'm
one
also-
action per turn.
Yeah, I'm going to cast a spell, and I'm going to use an extra bit of performance to make it hit undead.
Okay.
And I'm
What is
going
the
to.
spell?
I'm a charm monster.
Okay. What is the DC? Never mind. Doesn't matter. Okay, so one of them is charmed. And
So I'm going to speak to it as it's charmed and tell it to come down and cease its, be friendly.
you tell it to cease its it rolled a nat 1, by the way, so it's going to be a lot more amenable to everything that you say.
I'm just telling it to generally like come down and show the party that you are not hostile and wait for instructions next to me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Why can't I attack the vampire in gaseous form?
I mean, okay, hold on. Sorry, 1 minute. The whole gaseous form, I'm still shaky on some of the stuff, how vampires work when they go gaseous. So the subject and all its gear become insubstantial, misty, and translucent. Its material armor becomes worthless, though its size, dexterity, deflection, bonus, and armor bonuses from force effects still apply against DR10 magic and becomes immune to poison, sneak attacks, and critical hits. Can't attack or cast spells with verbal somatic components, and loses all supernatural abilities. I guess where I'm confused, and maybe I can get your guys' thoughts on this, is if they drop. So what it says about vampires, and I'd like to hash this out now with the weaker vampires before we get to the big ones, that if reduced to 0 hit points in combat, a vampire spawn assumes gaseous form and attempts to escape. So where they're all at like negative 16 hit points. I guess that's just if it's reduced to exactly 0. So maybe, yeah, after not too much effort, they'd all kind of resume corporeal form and drop to the ground. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? I have not dealt with vampires much, and I guess I'm iffy on if it's an automatic. As soon as they get 2 or below 0, they would go gaseous, or if it's only if they hit 0.
Well,
And if
I
you
think they go
overshoot-
gaseous. They take half damage from non-magical attacks if they're gaseous.
And they wouldn't be able to escape until it's their turn, I imagine, right? They would just, in the moment of dropping a 0 or less, they would turn gaseous.
I guess what I'm also looking at as I am looking at this more, reducing a vampire spawn's hit points to 0 or lower incapacitates it, but doesn't always destroy it. And that's where I'm thinking it might just be only if it hits exactly 0 that it will automatically go, and that if it goes below, then it doesn't.
But that would be a weird thing. How often do things hit exactly 0?
I don't know.
Well, they do need a standard action to use it. Okay, where are you seeing the
Under
automatically
fast
assume
healing.
the form?
Under fast healing. A vampire spawn also gains fast healing 2. If reduced to 0 hit points in combat, a vampire spawn assumes gaseous form and attempts to escape. Or maybe that's not even an automatic thing. Maybe that's just the tactic they would take. Actually, I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not super partial. I just want to hash it out how vampires are going to act and what mechanics they have now before we get deeper into vampires.
What I was saying is I only see that they get DR Magic 10
So then
in
if they
gaseous
drop,
form, but nothing explicitly states that melee damage can't harm them.
No, you're right. That was my misreading of it. But I guess as I'm looking at that, if they're below 0 hit points, they probably wouldn't even be able to assume gaseous form. Is my more recent thought as I'm reading over this more. This is probably super interesting for all of our viewers.
I don't know. What I assume is that, like, okay, so like I hit 12 on a vampire that has 10 health. He goes down to 0 from that and assumes gaseous form, and he can start to get away from that, but if I hit him again, he's dead immediately, because he hits negative hit points.
Okay.
Is what I would assume
in a
for that.
situation where they take a good chunk more than their hit points, when they drop to the strong negatives, like double-digit negatives from one spell, that's where I'm almost wondering if these ones would just straight up just drop and stay down.
You could give them like a safety net of like, you know,
I mean, not dead, but they're still...
They're CR, I guess, that like, you know, they can survive that and go gaseous, but if something were to, you know, hit 50 on something that has 10 health, it's just immediately destroyed.
Not necessarily destroyed. There's a specific reason that we'll get to why the one that you hit was destroyed. But,
Silver, baby.
After I'm reading it, I think they just turn into a gaseous form. I don't think that's just a tactic. I think the attempting to escape is the tactic. I think I think he's right. When they hit 0, they turn into a gaseous form, and then when it's their turn, they try to escape.
Okay, so yeah, the one had its soul ripped away, but the other 4, gaseous form, and then Nomad, you're going to be able to... You're able to get one of them, and it's, you know, incapacitated, and then name Prince, you're able to charm one of them. Was anybody else going to do something as they're rising up into the air?
So now it's just 2 that are going away.
2 that are going away. Let's go with that.
Well, Jasper will cast Disrupt Undead on
I think
one
I
of them
can
that's
do
going away.
cure light wounds on them.
Okay. So Jasper, go ahead, use your thing. Go ahead and give me damage, and then Hestia, you cast Cure.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if that hits.
I would say to Maleth, is there anything you can hit them with?
In the gaseous form?
Yes, anything. Doesn't matter how weak it is. As long as it'll hurt them, it'll get rid of them.
So another fire spell?
Please don't.
Whatever you think will work best.
Okay, let me take a quick look and see if there's anything that won't do more damage to Prince. Okay, I'll use Flaming Sphere. If that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It does reflex negates. Moves 30 feet per round. So
If you have anything that will just hit them on just like a half, reflex half, because if he makes his reflex save, he won't be hurt by that.
okay, so.
Okay, so I just read something that makes a lot more sense. So, undead are destroyed at 0 hit points. I totally forgot about that.
Well, no, I'm actually reading Vampires right now. Straight from it says reducing a vampire's spawn's hit points to 0 or lower incapacitates it but doesn't destroy it.
Yes.
Because of fast healing. However, certain attacks can slay vampire spawns.
Mm-hmm. Well, but I'm saying with vampire spawn, what that means is then they hit that 0, and if you continuously do damage to them when they're in their gaseous form at 0, the question then is, do they drop out of it? Or do they stay gaseous and you just keep them at 0 hit points?
I think they just stay gaseous because it says that, like, I'm reading this and it says the only way you can kill one is, like, with sunlight a wooden stake. There might be like holy water, putting its head in holy water.
Okay.
There's not much that can actually kill these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
That's retarded then, honestly. That's really, really stupid.
Well, I mean, that is vampire lore. They are notoriously hard.
Well, I don't care about the
to kill.
lore. I'm talking about like the funness and the balance of the game. That is just retarded. That you have to jump through 1,000 hoops to get rid of something. Like that is just like annoying to play against.
I mean, what you guys did before was capture one and then drench it in holy water to kill it.
Yes. That's
I mean,
what
I
it
could
says
use
there.
my holy water jet. I didn't think about that.
Holy water jet.
Holy water jet!
I've used it a couple times in this campaign already.
Holy water jet, Batman.
It's one of my Arcanist exploits. Add Lisa Jet of Holy Water by expending a point from Arcane Reservoir. It's a 30-foot line of water that deals damage equal to 1d8 points of damage, plus the Arcanist Charisma modifier, plus an additional 1d8 points of damage for every 2 levels beyond first.
And is that to every creature in the line or just one?
Every creature in the line.
I mean, you could just hit all of them with that.
I will do that then.
Okay.
That is so idiotic. Okay, so unless you, just like tie them up and bake them in the sun forever, but don't let them get enough hit points back to just get consciousness and then become gaseous and then get away. So you can let them bake in the sun like raisins. You can attempt to drown them if you happen to just randomly have a vat of holy water, and then you have to keep it in there for a long time, then destroy it. Or you can drive a wooden stake through a helpless vampire spawn's heart, and this will instantly slay it, but that's a full round action. But it will return to life as the stake is removed, unless you sever the head and then anoint said head with holy water.
Yeah, that's what I was
the
reading.
stupidest, most idiotic garbage I've ever read for
But-
D&D monster rules.
But it
Why
is
do you
canon for
have-
vampires.
I don't care if it's canon for vampires. My only issue with that is that it's cancerous. That's stupid for balance. That we have to jump through 1,000 hoops to make sure that they're dead. I don't like fighting an enemy that I have to like do 7,000 rituals for to make sure that they're truly dead. I don't know about you guys, but I think that that's really annoying.
Makes you look
Yeah.
forward to the last Pietro fight, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. When we have Pietro, we're about to
Oh,
face him.
that
Make sure we
is-
pull in the bathtub full of holy water.
Yeah.
Do
We're
that.
gonna be joining Pietro and switching sides just because we don't want to deal with the hassle.
They have a lot of
Exactly.
They have a lot of weaknesses, though. If you can grab a mirror or have some just garlic, I mean, that's a DC 25 will save
I
just to
actually-
be around you.
Okay,
I actually
I found
took a
the
spell.
I found the text that would answer this. That's the reason I was remembering that. So additional damage dealt to a vampire spawn forced into gaseous form has no effect. Once at rest, the vampire is helpless and regains 1 hit point after 1 hour, then is no longer helpless and resumes healing at a rate of 2 hit points. So
Honestly, I like it. It makes them durable.
the way that you kill them is you get back to where their rest is and kill them in the 1 hour before they return to not helplessness.
Oh, dang.
So you have to follow them
You have to follow them.
or stop them.
You got one of them back. So
Yes.
with the
You're
charm,
welcome.
With the charm, I'll
That was
allow
me.
one of them. Sorry for the back and forth on this. I'm tired. I've misread that like 3 times tonight. Let's see. So that's one of them. The soul was ripped out. One of them, something Nomad did really worked. One of them is back towards you now, and then the other 3 are in gaseous form, going away. Okay, so apparently even just the holy water. Where is it? I'm trying to decide if spraying them with holy water will be enough to actually do anything to them.
The head has to be severed and
Well,
covered in holy water.
Yeah.
I will say that part is ridiculous, Nomad. The part where, like, it's not just holy water. It's... Alright, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
And it's not like blessing water is a cantrip either. That's first level spell slots you need to bless water. I think that's retarded. Yeah, or you have to immerse them for consecutive rounds in holy water. That is
No,
so
just running water, not holy water.
utterly idiotic.
Immersed in running water. Okay. Yeah, so 3 of them go up into the air, and tracking them is very difficult, but you have one that sticks around, and one that is dead. You have a body, and then the other that is very much gone, explosive. Sorry.
Oh, so the one that I removed its soul, its body is still there?
Yep.
Oh, yeah! You're welcome.
You caught it at a moment of weakness.
Okay, I'm back. What happened?
So the final takeaway is one of them was completely destroyed by Nomad. One of them had its soul ripped out by Jasper. One of them had got charmed by you, and then the other 3 fled up into the night in gaseous form.
But the only ones who would have noticed me pulling its soul out were...
Yes, were Maleth and Hestia.
Even though Maleth was too busy crying over how she nearly burst
Cardboard.
Prince into flames.
She was not crying. Mildly concerned.
She blew you up.
She did blow me up.
And has been apologizing ever since and trying to get people to heal you.
Well, I mean...
Okay. Alright, so, what are
When
you
I
going to do
cast
from
Cure
here?
Light Wounds, I included him, by the way.
Okay, so you cast it on him instead of one of the vampires, since I guess you would have known that it wouldn't have done anything on the mist.
I mean, I guess I can heal him too.
Maybe you'll even get the right person.
Yep.
Nomad, what you would recognize happened is that when you were striking the one vampire spawn, you got incredibly lucky and you pretty much replicated staking it through the heart. But due to circumstances that are very difficult to replicate, except for if you have a vampire like at your mercy, you were able to pretty much eviscerate its heart with your silver whip and just kill it outright. It's something that really needs like all the conditions to line up perfectly for it to happen. But so for all intents and purposes, it's never happening on purpose. But
My mass healing spell should have included you.
so what was it you cast, Erica?
It was
Oh, Cure Light Wounds
Cure
Mass.
Light Wounds
Okay.
Mass, and it just does the people who I select.
Okay, so that'll affect who
All of
all do you
us,
select?
except for Maleth and the other undead in our party, if there are any, which I kind of forget.
Maleth is
The only
the
one.
only one that you know. So
Okay,
then
yeah.
everybody will get healed. What would that be? 1d8 plus 10.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that touch for that?
It's
No.
it's AoE. It just affects everybody.
Okay, how much in total? 18?
Yes.
I feel slightly better.
Well, I wasn't hit, so I would just tell Hestia to not use it on me.
It
I
does
do
the
feel
same
better.
amount.
Okay, so everybody gets healed by that. Did you roll the d8, Erica?
I did not.
Okay.
I got a natural one from the D8.
Okay. So yeah, everybody, you will get healed by, what was that then? 11.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
And hopefully it hurt the vampires enough that it Got them all.
Yeah, you're not sure. It all depends on where they're trying to get to, if it'll slow them down or anything. Okay. Let's see. As the dust settles from all of this, you hear a voice to the side in the alleyway. That was quite some heroic action.
Oh God, it's Deckard Cain.
Oh, Minster.
Jasper immediately turns and goes back up the stairs.
Okay. An older man putting his weight on the cane comes towards you. His hair is kind of a... while he does appear to be older, his hair is not white or gray the way that Jasper's is, but it's a bit more of a brassy color, like a bit brown-ish. And he approaches you. Visitors come often here, but they are not usually such stature as yourselves. What brings you to these parts? If I may ask. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just trying to figure out, like, who is going to talk and what they're going to say, because I don't know what to tell a random stranger.
He looks at the corpse of the vampire. The undead have become quite a common sight around here. Even those of us who've lived here long have become accustomed to them as an everyday part of life. And yet you dealt with them quite handily.
We're used to it. It's part of our lives.
He nods. Might I purchase you some refreshment? I'd like to talk for a moment if you have time.
Sure, but I have a question for you. Before we talk, do you know what was going on out here before we came? You seem to have been watching, and to me it seemed like there was a conflict between the skeletons and the vampires, or what exactly was going on?
Well, if you trust the eyes of an old man, I thought I saw the skeletons guarding the entrance to the inn. Off to the side, but these 6 creatures approached, trying to enter the establishment. And when they were accosted so, they grabbed one of the skeletons and hurled him towards that cart over there. And the old man motions to the destroyed cart and the skeleton sticking out of it. At which point the skeletons seemed to try and bar their way. Beyond that, I saw as much as you did. As to why they're here, who can say? Many of this ilk seem to act on their own, or at the behest of their masters. Those of us common folk do not get quite the understanding of their motives, if you know what I mean. We keep our heads down, do not draw attention, you see.
Well, thank you for the information, and if you come inside the tavern, I think Nomad would be very happy to talk with you. I need to attend to this fledgling that I have here at my side, but Nomad, do you think that would be okay?
Sure. I'll talk to him.
Now, what is the duration, by the way, of Charm Person?
1 day per caster
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. So pretty much
Charm monster, not charm.
Sorry, Charm Monster. He's
Yeah.
he's pretty much just gonna stick around you. After about 2 hours, he's gonna burn up and die.
Oh, why? I'm gonna bring him inside.
No, that's what happens. No, after 2 hours, that is one of the other things. If within 2 hours after being forced into their gaseous form, they are unable to reach their coffin or their, where is it? Yeah, it must reach its coffin home within 2 hours or be utterly destroyed.
Do I know this?
You would know this based on the check that you had before.
Okay, is it conscious enough to talk to?
It cannot speak back to you, but it can at least hear you. I mean, enough so that you were able to charm it.
Do I know a way of healing it? And it can hear me, though, right? It can hear me.
If you were to heal it with negative energy, that would probably do something. But if we're gonna do
Hey,
that,
I don't have
think,
it.
yeah, if we are gonna do that, then I'd like to do that after Nomad has his conversation. Is anyone else gonna go there as well?
Well, now that I know that, I'm just gonna tell this vampire to go back to its home, heal up, and when it has a time to slip away from its friends, do not tell them that it is friends with me, but just heal yourself up and come back tomorrow night or I don't know how. I don't know if they can walk during the day. Just
to return
whenever
to
it
you.
can.
Okay.
What are you playing at, Prince?
Well, we need a fire for this thing that we have been tasked with. Not saying that we're going to fulfill it, but we have part of the prerequisites. This will also tell us where the other vampires. Wait, they got killed or did they get away? They got away? Sorry, you broke up.
The chip in my mouth broke up.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah, they got away. The other
Okay.
3.
Alright, then I'll continue with Nomad.
Okay.
Be able to tell us where the vampire's lair is. He will be able to tell us who his master is. He will be able to tell us why he was here. I mean, there is like a laundry list. We don't have laundry. There's a long list of things that that this could help us with.
It's like a solid plan.
All
And I
right,
will
so I'm
go back into the inn with the old guy.
a follow too now that I don't have this vampire to deal with.
I need to be back though. Just give me a few minutes.
Okay.
This is going to talk to this guy.
I'll talk to him, but I want Nomad to lead with this because
Then do we want to wait until he's back?
Yeah, I can take a break.
Yeah.
I can go grab some water or something.
Be
I'll
super
back.
fast. Don't be long.
I'm not gonna be long. I'm gonna be like a minute.
Because this will be the last thing for tonight, so I want to get through it quickly, and not have to wait 10 minutes.
Sorry about that. I'm back. What was that old guy wanted to talk to us about again? Does anyone remember?
I'm back.
And Kyle.
I'm back.
What, Malith?
I was just saying, I thought both Kyle and Taggart were away from the screen for a minute. Kyle's back.
Yeah, what was the old guy wanting to talk to us about?
We didn't talk to him yet. I said I was gonna let you lead the conversation.
Okay, so is anyone other than Prince and Nomad gonna talk to this old guy?
Malus
Jasper's
specializes.
already up the stairs.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
I'll
So
stay and talk with them.
okay.
Yeah.
Malus specializes in setting people on fire.
So the old man goes to the counter where the innkeeper is kind of looking out very concernedly at everything that happens. And the old man gingerly pulls out a few silver coins and hands them to the innkeeper. You notice that this is less, and the innkeeper brings out, some drinks for all of you. You notice the old man seems to have paid less than all of you did when you were getting equivalent drinks earlier. The man, takes a drink as well, and he slowly sips it, and he says, "I appreciate you humoring me. Sometimes, especially after experiences like this, I find it beneficial to stay a while and listen to the things that others have to say. So, you have been here for not but a day, and already you're the talk of the town. Made quite the commotion, both during the day and even now at night. Might I hear your stories? What brings you to these lands?"
I'm sorry, and who are you?
"I am but an old man. Most call me Deckard, but few-
Okay. Sorry.
I'm going into it. That's my best old man voice. I'm just going to stick with it. But none who knew me in my younger years are still in these parts. My family is long past. So, Deckard I am known by, and Deckard you may call me. And
All
yourself?
right.
You have the look of a native of Zelkir about you. Unlike, and he looks at the rest of you, unlike your companions. Though, and his eyes linger on you, Prince, for a moment. Though I must say, something about you looks familiar. But you, young man, you, and he's again speaking to Nomad, you have the look of Zelkir about you. What brings you here with such an eclectic bunch as this?
Were you going to say something, Kyle?
I was just gonna do my. I'm just gonna. Is there like a half-filled water mug or something nearby? A barkeep for some water.
Yep, easy.
All right, then I'm just gonna tears to wine it and make myself some wine and start drinking it. Since
It is much
everyone
higher
else
quality than what everybody else was given.
Okay.
I would tell him, yes, I've lived here all my life.
And yet you travel with all of these outsiders, coming here and, as you say, familiarizing yourself with the undead. Why? And I think Thomas's music is a bit too loud.
What? I don't even know what's going on with this character, you guys. Like, at all.
I mean, I don't know either, but he has an interest in you because you're a native born.
Sorry, go ahead. He looks at you, and for a moment longer, for ones who involve themselves in the affairs of a city, you don't talk as much as I would have expected. He begins to very gingerly stand up. Go ahead, Prince.
I was just gonna say, Nomad is the strong, silent type.
Perhaps I am wasting your time. You'll
No,
forgive an
I-
old man his curiosity.
I'm curious about your curiosity. I mean, I don't know if people would call me a native-born person of this land, but I am curious to what your I guess I can answer the question you asked Nomad. We're trying to figure out what's going on in this town and in this land, and Nomad in particular, I think, wants to save this land if he can. That's why he acted so swiftly with the undead outside. I would not have wanted him to be so destructive, or companion Malith to be as destructive as they were, but their hearts are in the right place.
There are many in these parts who may not take as kindly to you treating the newest inhabitants of Zelkir in such a way. Some who may view you as enemies in a land teeming now with the undead.
Of course, many see us as enemies. And as for how we treat the new inhabitants, well, we've never hurt anybody that didn't try to hurt us first. And as for what we're doing here, we're just trying to do the best we can for the people. That's all. I suppose Prince put it in a grand way, but we're doing the best that we can, here and there. And if that eventually leads to the salvation, if you want to call it that, of Zelkir, or at least our vision of that.
Dangerous talk. Do you really think that you will make a difference?
I certainly do.
And do you think that difference will last? In the face of all that is happening, and the face of all that has been done?
Prince isn't
That's
gonna
up to the people.
I'm not
That,
gonna
no one can
say-
answer for sure.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm gonna look a bit skeptical, as Nomad is very assured of telling him. I'm not gonna say anything though. Just looking a bit skeptical.
The old man's face is downcast as you say that. Yes, I suppose that it does depend on what the people choose. Were it not that history has proven they will choose differently than you, an old man like me might have hope. But I have little.
Why is it that
So
you...
this guy, just to get a general vibe check.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mayla's there. She just hasn't really
Yeah,
said
no, you're
anything.
good. Everyone's here
You
except
kinda
for
watched him.
Jasper, and I think Gabriel. Did you go back up to your room, or are you down here?
Gabriel probably passed out on the floor.
He's just down on the ground.
Land on the
Oh,
skeleton. He just fell asleep.
You guys got it covered. I'll just sleep here.
I only got a 10, so
Okay, and that was a sense motive. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing in particular that stands out to you about the old man. He seems to be inquisitive is the best way that you can describe it, but other than that, just old and tired is the best way to describe him.
Well, going after what he just said, why is it that you don't feel hope or think that you seem to give off the impression that the people of Zelkir won't choose what my companion here thinks they might?
He looks you up and down, Prince, and he says, "When you have lived as long as I have, you will see things that many people might find surprising. People tend to give up when things are difficult. Sure, they'll stand for a time, fight and resist as you do, but over time, as the world bears down upon them, they relinquish their control, they relinquish their responsibility and cease trying to do better, cease trying to be better. I've seen many of those who I love give up that fight in my life, and I've seen many more let apathy cloud their minds and their judgment. But they ignore the pain and the damage that might be caused by their actions, or by the actions of others. Even now, you look at all of this, and what has been Zelkir's response to being overrun by the undead? It is largely to submit, to give up, to give in. So many are trying only to maintain the day-to-day norm. They do not care who holds the reins over their lives, so long as it is not them. They are content to follow the will of their leader, whether he be human or vampire, whether they consider him to be righteous or sinful.
There's no dishonor in surviving. Not everyone can do what we do. We put our lives on the line every day. And that's not an easy thing to accept for a lot of people.
You have my admiration for that.
And some people have bravery, but no actual skill to back that up. Some people keep their heads down. I don't think anybody in the capital likes what's going on. I'm sure that they would oppose it if they could. But what are they supposed to do? Start openly attacking the skeleton guards there? They don't really have a choice. I don't see it as them willfully submitting, as if they were sheep. I doubt that they would want an vampire lord over them, but they don't really have another choice.
Perhaps you're right, young man, but perhaps also all of this, and he kind of gestures to just everything around him, is as much a result of what they themselves have done in their world and in their country as it is the actions of malefactors, or those who would do them harm. Perhaps all of this is something that Zelkir has brought upon itself. If not
And how's
willingly,
that?
then perhaps through apathy.
Of course. That's always the natural way of things. People become complacent, lazy, greedier, stupider. It's always how it happens in time. Until something like this comes along and wakes everybody up.
I
The price we have to pay for peace is eternal vigilance.
He nods.
And that's something that's difficult to maintain.
Wise words for one so young. Would that your compatriots of Zelkia could see things as you do. Would that they could maintain that vigilance when you are gone. You stand as a beacon now, as many have in the past. But they are all eventually lost and forgotten when their names dwindle in time. And the same pattern, the same destruction seems to cycle again and again. But one might hope that you are right. One might hope that you can make a difference. What is your name, lad?
I am Nomad.
He smiles just a little bit as you say that. What were you going to say, Prince?
I was just going to say that they call me Prince.
Prince, a nomad. Title or name? Not that it matters, I suppose.
Neither. A temporary... I am not sure of my name, and it is certainly not out of character. It's Maldrath, right?
Oh, that's the name of the person that was in that exhibit.
It's just something for them to call me. And it is not my name, but my name is definitely not Maldrath.
Deckard nods. Yes, yes. How to define oneself, that is a question that we all must come into contact with. Perhaps my offering to you, and he motions towards the drinks, has brought me one more question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Why is Zelkia worth fighting for to you? Why risk your life in all of this when you could take that life and find strength and fulfillment elsewhere, where there isn't all this death and destruction? Or does that death and destruction follow you?
It's always had its way of finding me, I suppose. And as for finding fulfillment elsewhere, I don't really know much else. I can't go and start a farm. I can't become a scholar. I certainly wouldn't be a good merchant. Fighting is the only thing I've ever really been good at. And truth be told, I don't know if Zelkia matters that much to me. Personally, it's just another place in this vast world. But certain factors that I was involved with previously have helped cause the destruction of Zelkia, and I feel personally responsible for dealing with those said things. Before I do anything else, I feel a responsibility to see this land restored.
During that conversation, what he just said, Prince is just gonna look a bit confused.
Deckard looks at the rest of you that are at the table with him, almost expectantly.
I don't have anything as grand to say as Nomad. I found myself here trying to, I guess, understand mortals, and the more I walk the material plane, the more grotesque it looks. I've seen the history of this land, and it seems as though the pain that it suffers is, as you say, it's cyclical. It goes on, and maybe an immortal being might be able to tame it, but even then, it seems like this world just cannot order itself. And I don't think that we can order it either. So I've been asking myself the questions you've been asking tonight, probably for the past day. And listening to how sure Nomad is of protecting and creating good, I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure, but I'm going to at least try my best to find the right path.
He nods. There is a beauty to this world. A beauty to all that is around us. Perhaps if we were to step aside and sleep, if we were to move out of the way, that beauty would manifest so much more. But who's to say? Who's to say? And the two of you, he says, looking at you,
I think
Maleth,
Maleth will do. Oh.
and at Hestia, are there any words of comfort that you can give an old man?
I don't know if they're here.
I'm here. I'm just not sure what to say. I was waiting on Hestia because I figured
I was gone for a little bit, so I'm just like, I don't know really what they're talking about, except...
Just make the old man feel better.
Yeah.
Yes, give him words of encouragement.
Out of character. You're gonna die soon. It'll be fine.
I think that falls to you then, Maleth.
I mean, Hestia, don't you give out, like, biscuits or, like, berries or stuff to people?
That's true.
Anyone
Give the man a berry.
Yeah,
Alright,
give the
okay.
man a berry.
Alright. I think I can at least help him feel better. Let me see what I got.
Kiss him on the lips.
Oh, God.
Nah.
We at least need to pay for his stay here.
I do have dominate person. Just
You're gonna force him into feeling good? I command you to feel better.
Hestia would be better at this than me. But now I'm like, maybe we should attempt to say something.
Say that again, Maleth.
I was saying at first I thought Hestia would be better at this than I would, but maybe Maleth should say something instead.
I'll say to the old guy, it is what we carry within our hearts that determines the state of the world outside of us. Which either adds good or adds evil. So decide what you will do, and at the the very least, your life will be brighter. Or darker, depending on what you choose.
He has a forlorn look in his eyes as you say that.
But I will give him a hug and cast a spell on him when I can find a spell I have.
He pats your back.
Ooh. I will also do the spell Dancing Lights, and I'll also say, just like as we make lights within ourselves, we can always look for light. There is always light present. Because if there wasn't, then there would be no darkness. So look for the light.
He nods. And you. He cocks his head. You have a strange look about you, but...
I was born that way.
No, sorry, talking to Maleth.
Oh.
Maybe it's Maybelline's.
And you?
He'd tell me I have a strange look about me, and then what would he say?
Any words of encouragement for an old man?
I also have Remove Fear. I will cast while they're talking.
Okay. All of you within your spirits are a little bit higher, all of you in the room. As the feeling of down that's been kind of pervading you is lessened.
Maleth would probably say, I think as long as there's someone out there still willing to be kind and make things better however they marginally can, then there's hope. Nothing lasts forever, not even vampires.
He offers a sad smile as you say that. Perhaps, little one. He looks around and says, the hour is getting late. I think it is time that both you and I retire for the night. I appreciate you humoring an old man and his queries. May you find the peace and the beauty that you are looking for. And with that, he gingerly stands up the rest of the way, favoring his staff, his walking staff, and nods to each of you, nods to the barkeep, and begins to make his way out of the establishment.
Or maybe he's. Anyways, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to. I'm not gonna say it like that. I am going to go to sleep.
Okay. Alright, so that is where we'll end tonight. It is late.
Mm-hmm.
Bid adieu to our viewers. The late nights are made possible by viewers like you. And I guess if anybody is interested in catching up to what's gone on up until now, I do have all of the sessions are posted on my YouTube channel if you're wanting to catch up from back there. But thank you. Hope you enjoyed.